do a live podcast here. Every Thursday we're out here. I don't know if you know we're out here every Thursday.
Well, I've definitely seen you guys out here, so I never stopped, but I always noticed because I always thought it was a very unique spot to hold a podcast.
Yeah, it's been different. It's been a crazy experience. It's our last podcast year. We're going to be finished as of Thanksgiving. We'll be here Thanksgiving giving out free food.
Oh, awesome.
So if you want free food, come by Thanksgiving at 11 o'clock.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, what's your name?
My name's Cassidy.
Cassidy. All right, so you just came up to me and you want to know more about the medical cannabis program here.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and legalization, actually, right?
I know, you know, I just, like I was saying before, you know, with Christie 8 years, I knew it was never going to be possible, you know, so I was just kind of like put it out of my head. And, you know, it's not to say I didn't smoke weed, but I definitely smoked less weed for sure. You know, if it was, there would have been a lot more times when if it were legal, I would have done it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, so my ideals have changed too, because I think, you know, I'm more libertarian views with everything. Like I think drugs are like, you know, it's almost like with the gun laws. Like I think like you think a terrorist worries about a gun law when he shoots up people. Like, you know what I mean? Like people are gonna do things whether it's like and drugs. Like people do more time for drugs than actual serious crimes. You know, It's insane. And I was just like, I listen to a lot of podcasts and I try and stay educated, you know? And I was watching just the Rogan podcast yesterday, and they had this guy. And
he's great.
20 by 2040, we're gonna have the entire tax bill is gonna be to healthcare, because that's the biggest problem in this country. Is 1 out of 2 people have an illness. 100 million Americans are predisposed to have diabetes. So they either have it or they're going to get it. Well, that's 1 out of every 3 people in the whole country. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, and like, okay, for instance, I had high blood pressure, and so the doctor, you know, he has to see so many people to you know, so it's 10 minutes, he writes me a prescription to lower my blood pressure. Not once was he like, what were you eating? What do you know, do you exercise? Do you know? They didn't say anything like that, you know? They just did my blood pressure. They're like, your blood pressure's high. Here's a pill. Take, you know, and it's, and what really upsets me, is when I see the stuff you guys do about like the kids, like a kid has like, you know, like is having seizures. And he's like, you know what? I haven't had a seizure for 130 days because he was allowed to use medical marijuana. And people like have the audacity to say, oh no, kid, you can't do that. It's
suffer.
Like, who are you?
Right.
Who like we elect these, like, you know, people. They work for us, you know, like it's like these people work for us.
Governor Christie was like that. 15-month baby named Sabina Rose died because of him.
That's insane.
She couldn't get her medicine because of him and his roadblocks. They made a 1-year-old baby go to a psychiatrist.
That's
really?
Murder. That's murder.
Yeah.
It's political murder. It's first of all, it's against everything this country is supposed to be about. You know, we've always been, you know, like, my family has always been, I mean, they grew up Irish Catholic, they believed, you know, and a lot of people, you know, their perception of God is different, but most people can generally believe, you know what, just be a good person, you know what I mean? Don't infringe on someone's rights, you know, to do, you know, to be a sane, logical, safe, I think the reason that it's illegal is it's because it keeps so many jobs for you know, people getting locked up, and the system is run on money. You know, it's all about money. Everything comes down to money. And I think this guy Murphy's smart. He realizes, okay, people want to smoke pot. Let them smoke pot. Let's get the tax revenue, and let's do something positive with it. You know. instead of just like some of the
Let's stop locking up black people and Latino people at a rate of 4 to 1, basically 5 to 1 in New Jersey.
Oh, man,
Blacks to Latino,
great.
to white people. Come on.
Well, you could just see it. Well, you know what? I never, before I came to Trenton 5 years ago, if you were to said to me, like, racism exists, I would be like, yeah, well, I never see it. But being white in Trenton, I can just imagine what it was like for someone being black in the suburbs. Because it's like not, if you stand out, or if you, everyone, you just have a feeling that you're different, and like people, like it's a weird feeling.
So wait a minute. Now, when you buy weed in the hood,
Yeah.
you say you buy weed in the hood now.
Yeah. Well,
Because you have no choice to get it. You have no choice.
I pleaded the Fifth Amendment.
All right.
on
Well,
that
we
one.
won't talk about where you get it.
Hey, how you doing, man? Cassidy. That's a good name.
I love when people come up to us on the podcast and tell us their stories.
Oh, okay.
And here you go.
Oh,
Yeah, I was just telling
What time is it?
The governor.
We're on the air.
Are we?
You were on the air.
All right, I got 10 minutes because I got to run.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, this is your first podcast since the new governor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, since the election. Yeah,
That's
this is it. Yeah, we
gnarly.
did it, man.
I'm glad I came up to talk to you guys, man. That's
Thanks
pretty
for
gnarly.
coming out, man.
Cassidy, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you guys, man. You guys keep this up. This is some
We'll
cool
do.
stuff, man.
Come
I'll
back for-
see you for that Thanksgiving
Yeah,
thing,
come
man.
back, get some turkey for Thanksgiving. Yeah, man. God bless you, man. All right.
Yeah, man.
Good morning.
Hey.
Hey, congratulations, right?
Congratulations,
Yeah,
right?
Good stuff, man. Yeah. So, how about now? How about
Now the real work starts.
How about now?
Now the real work starts. That in all honesty, we got our guy in. Now the real work starts. Because the state of New Jersey is late to this conversation. We're much more advanced in this space than the state is, and also we're much more advanced in this conversation than local municipalities are too. So, it's. It would behoove the powers that be to begin some dialogue that we've been screaming and yelling for God knows how long. So it's go time. And the thing is that at this point we have to keep all things that are terrible about the industry and the laws in the industry from playing out right here in New Jersey.
Like what?
The low representation of minorities as far as ownership goes.
You're stopping that.
Yeah.
I see you stopping that. You
trying.
single-handedly are getting all of the people together that are going to stop
That's what
that.
I'm trying- yeah.
And I love that.
Because that's what, if you think about it, that doesn't normally happen until after everything
No,
takes
you're
place.
proactive,
Yes,
man.
we've been.
I want mom and pop cannabis.
Yes,
Mom and pop cannabis.
Yes, and also I'm also pushing for to view the medical side as a completely different industry than the adult use side.
Like Colorado, they have 2 rooms when you go
Right.
into a dispensary.
Well, you know what? I don't even want. You know what? I would much rather it go. I'd much rather a medical dispensary stay just that, specifically a medical dispensary.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because see, when
Why?
you go into other dispensaries that have both, the medical side is very dreary and ugly looking, and it's plain. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
It's supposed to be pink. Isn't this what pink is, like a neutral color, right?
Yeah,
for
it's
sick
just,
people.
But then, let's say I'm standing at the door
I got you.
trying to get my medical cannabis, and then I turn around, and then there's the adult use side, and there's neon colors, neon lights, and
Disco
this thing-
ball,
yeah, and
come
it's
on.
like, so where you? So what happens is that where you gonna go? What's gonna catch your eye? The adult use side, and what ends up happening is medical goes away. And so if you treat them as 2 separate industries, now we can address that home grow part, because actually you're going to want the home grow because that's a job. You give a caregiver, you can give a caregiver a certain number of patients. You say a caregiver can have 25 patients. You know what I'm saying? And they can grow for that, to service their patients. They got to get their stuff tested just like everybody else does, because testing is going to be big. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, therefore, now you've created, because here's the thing. What we're trying to do is we're trying to stave off the whole black market still thriving, even though there's adult use here. And the way that, and the way that these folks are looking at things is that they're looking at it from the standpoint of control. And you know what? If you look at every other state that has both adult and medical, and you look at states that just have medical, the control mechanisms they have in place don't work. Only because this conversation was just taboo to you like 2 years ago.
Shit.
And again, remember how I said, these folks tell on themselves they can't help it because they say things like gateway drug, and of course people like us are like, gateway drug? Ooh, what year are you?
You're old.
We don't even say that no more. Who told you that? And that's not true. That was debunked.
My mom.
Yeah, that was debunked years ago. So again, or when they say the pots, or what you doing smoking that dope. Yeah. And it's like, no, we are talking about just cannabis here. And the even more scary part for me as an African-American man here in the state of New Jersey is that even amongst my own people, we do not have this conversation. It's taboo to them too. So getting the word out and educating, because that's the biggest thing now. We got to educate. So the next thing, educate. Because what we're doing is we're talking about facilitating a cultural shift towards cannabis. Part of that is, let's get the verbiage correct. It's called cannabis, not marijuana, not pot. Those are not dope. We call it cannabis. And so, yes. I mean, that's the scientific word for the correct. A lot of things that need to take place on top of, we're trying to the minorities for medical marijuana. In fact, I'm the New Jersey chapter president.
See that.
Yeah.
Go, man. You go.
Hey, man, this is, you see how I'm
Dude, you haven't stopped. You're the only person busier than me.
Really? That's saying something. That is saying something. I've been watching your videos too,
You know what I did today? I was here since 8:30.
Really?
Yeah.
Why you didn't call me? You could have came to the house. We could have ate and had some coffee.
You would have had to come with me because I had to go to Angela McKnight's committee meeting. I want to thank her for getting a ramp. Angela McKnight got a ramp.
Okay. So now we can have wheelchair access.
I want to thank her for taking leadership on this issue because she's the first legislator to get a ramp.
Good.
First one. And now other legislators are going to follow suit and say, we need ramps.
Yeah.
So and she spent $600 on this ramp.
Yeah.
Well, the OLS spent $600.
Right.
So good for her. Good for Angela McKnight. Thank you, Angela McKnight. I'm going to apologize to her for trolling her because I was Michael Alonzo's campaign manager, so I have to apologize for being a
You know what?
dick.
As we have to evolve. In particular, our tactics and how we, one of the things that Scott Rudder and I were talking about, I appreciate my conversations with Scott because, he's one of the few that's willing to go there in terms of, having the uncomfortable conversations. And it turns out he's not really all that uncomfortable with it. It's just that I wanted to demonstrate what it looks like when you listen to understand instead of just listening to respond. Because we get that, we want to fight for the mic and talk over people. And you didn't even hear what he said. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that, especially since now they want to push this in the first 100 days,
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so either. That's wishful thinking. I hope it doesn't, truth be told.
What's going to happen? Which law is he going to look at? Is he going to look at
3195? That's 3195.
Why is he looking at that one?
I think that's the one because Scutari, Nick Scutari's bill.
I don't like that one.
I know. There's Reed Guciara's bill too. But I think 3195 is the one that has the bigger blanket. It's just that now we get to sew in the little details of that blanket.
Yeah.
Tell the story.
Loopholes, though. I don't like the loopholes.
Yeah. Well, but it's only in its second draft form now. It's only been like a small amount of provisions, but now I would imagine things are going to ramp up. And at this point, the people whom the state needs to talk to have always been here and revealed themselves. And now there has to be a willingness to think to move forward, to evolve. What time is it?
Does Michael Patrick Carroll's bill have home grow in it? I think it does. Michael Patrick Carroll's bill?
Yes, it does. It does.
Let's push that bill.
Yeah.
I want that bill. I like that one. It's not going to affect these big commercial grows, and they're going to make their money. Believe me.
Well, and you know what's funny? What we're doing is I'm thinking about your idea with pushing Patrick's bill.
It's a great bill.
It is. You know, yeah. Let me. You know what? I need to do a side by side. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll help. But
It's interesting. The differences are interesting. There's a few differences. And we need decrim also. Like Ken Wolski says, decrim immediately because what are we waiting for?
Nork is, drafting legislation. I'm going to be meeting with the Trenton City Clerk and the business administrator and Director Parry, here in Trenton, to talk about, decrim and, to preempt whatever legislation comes out because we have to get these municipalities ready.
You need to run for office, man. He says he can do more out of office. You need to run, man. You need to take over this town and fix this shit, man.
Let me tell you something, man. If this is what just advocating on behalf of veterans for cannabis is got me feeling, no. You know what I'm saying? The one thing I learned about being in the military and working with people like Dave Petraeus and Mike Mullins and them is that the biggest lesson I learned is, one, it is much easier to bring down a government than it is to run one. And number two, when you get in that chair, things become different, which I know Phil Murphy is prepared for, because at the end of the day, you can say whatever you want to say about how you would govern and how you would do things when you're not the governor. But when you sit down in that chair, oh, wait a minute.
What did you say to Chris Christie? You had some private words with Chris Christie one day last year.
Yeah, right here.
What did you said some encouraging words to Governor Christie.
I told him that I was that I understood that what it means to be in that chair and the things that he has to do and deal with, and he can't say it the way he wants to say it. I know it, and I said, but though we are generals in two different armies, at some point we're going to have to talk, And he shook his head, and he said, yeah, and then I got the pen. Then we got the pin.
That was great, man. Oh.
Look, man, I got to get going because I got another meeting to get to. But I just I felt the need to come down here and talk to y'all. We will be. Are you guys going to be here next week?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I will see you guys next week.
And we will be here the week after on Thanksgiving. So
no, next week is Thanksgiving.
The week after.
Week after, you're right.
We'll be here.
So we're going to be here Thanksgiving with the theory that some people, like in my house, get out of the way, Jim. Get out of the way. Okay.
Well, look.
So basically, I'm going to be out of the way here, helping people get Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah,
nice.
We're going to feed people.
Good. I'll be out here. Listen, November 18th. Okay. Studio B, 439 South Broad Street. We are at the New Jersey Cannabis Commission is having a cannabis industry education and networking event from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
What day is that?
It's a Saturday. It's a Saturday morning. We're calling it Green Saturdays to preempt Black Friday and Cyber Monday. This is a bigger return on investment than just being a consumer.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, right? You know what I'm saying? It's time for y'all to come figure out how this is going to work and how this is going to play out here in the city of Trenton.
Well, there's other people watching this. Laura had an interesting conversation with the state paid-for security that how would somebody go about getting involved? I'm like, boy, you're in luck because there's somebody right outside the doorway. She didn't have her ID with her, so she went outside. And you know what I'm saying? So when it's coming down to that in passing, it's going to be an interesting time.
Things have changed. It's a whole new day. Isn't the sky a little bit brighter today? Look, guys, I got to get going, but I love you, and I will see you guys next week, all right?
You're the man.
All righty.
Leo from the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association. And I'm looking at the quotes here, and it says here, yellow and green are neutral colors, buddy, not pink. Oh, okay. I just know that hospitals always use pink. I think that helps you feel better. I don't know. She also says, I am a caregiver, but now patients are constantly asking me if the plants were grown outside because they don't want chemicals in their cannabis.
Who you going to roll with?
My company has warehouses ready to grow. I am a cannabis educator. I got a guy in Alaska ready to grow too, but is scared of this legalization I saw that, Danny, of this legalization goes nationwide. I work for CannaSense. I know CannaSense. We shout CannaSense out every week. Our company's warehouse was just busted with $900,000 worth of medicine. Neil Schloss, who's a friend of ours, was in the arrest. Will Neil's charges be dismissed? Well, I tried actually calling Neil. I could try calling him again. Yeah, I will try to call Neil right now, actually, because I did try to call him once before, and I had no luck. But Neil from CanaSense was arrested, apparently.
When was this?
About a month ago.
Yeah, I remember that. I didn't know if it was a re-arrest or you were talking about that
Oh,
one.
my phone isn't even... Hold on. I have to set up my phone. Hold on. All right, Jim, hold on. Give me a second.
Oh, hold
Oh,
on.
by the way, we started the show right off the bat running, hit the ground running, because a man came up, started talking to me, and we just started recording. And then Leo sat down, and now Jim sat down. So welcome to our Trenton podcast here at Chris Christie's office in Trenton. We never got to that. You don't even know who we are. I'm Lefty Grimes. This is Jim Miller.
Yeah, we just showed up.
This is Dan. How y'all doing? Let me get my
So,
phone going.
well, we heard people did this all the time on a regular basis, came out, and we did, and the joke, there was, nobody ever comes out more than once or twice. So, you know, we felt like, well, we'll show you. We will keep coming out. And this all started actually in June of 2013. Wait a minute, 14, 15, 13. It's good when you got to go back and mentally count the years on your fingers, you know, to where we are. Yeah, this is the end of the 4th year comp. So that's I guess that's something to be proud of. It's tenacity, you know. It demonstrates the importance of the issue. Just showing up. You get to recognize people at a distance, like Bill Caruso walking up now. You know, at least he looks like him with my blurry vision. Yep, that's him. But you know, just being here every week has been really up and down, but we noticed a lot this 3rd year. Oh, look at that. Somebody else come got some nice looking t-shirt there.
That's a beautiful t-shirt. Hello, Bill Caruso. How are you, sir?
Bill Caruso. NJUMR. See, I got it real quick. I don't know why I've always had trouble with that acronym. It's easier to say than CMMNJ. Yeah.
All of our friends won our elections, so we're all happy. Everybody won. Even Alonzo won, of all people. Can you believe it? Our cannabis candidate won. Yeah, I was having fun. But
Well,
school board. Yeah, that's where it's...
I just like the expression on the pundits' faces that I normally may watch. You know, I didn't even have to have the sound on TV yesterday. Yeah, there's that smile there is everywhere.
That one.
Yeah, right.
We watched you.
No, I'm just saying that it's good. And, you know, when they explain why and the nuts and bolts of how this is good, and yeah, my eyes probably start to glaze over. I don't know, because I don't have a mirror right there when that happens, but I'm guessing they do. And I just like knowing that this Tuesday, election day, I felt much different when I woke up in the morning than last year. So good. And
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you were on Chasing News for... you're on there every week now.
I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
this is great.
Really?
I'm enjoying that a lot.
You can grab that mic.
I'm enjoying that a lot, Lefty.
Good stuff.
You know, I'll tell you why. It's a different paradigm. It's not the normal sort of talking head. We sit on desks. I was joking with one of the guys that was on yesterday. I go, you know, sock fashion's actually a thing here because they can see your feet.
Oh, yeah.
But no, but it's fresh. It's hip.
is.
The host Bill Spadia, I don't necessarily agree on almost any of his politics, and he's not with us on this issue. But he keeps it fresh. He keeps it real, and it's a fun environment to spar back and forth and talk about these ideas. But we bring them together. It's not like the wonkiness that goes on inside this building here in the State House. It's a more accessible view of what's going on in New Jersey politics, and it's fun. But
Well, with Bill Spady, you have a good foil too. I mean, if he was on the same page and we were like, people are going to get probably a lot more out of you guys talking than us talking because we're just in agreement. But it's nice when he can say something, and if you're there for response, you know.
Jim, one of the things I've always done in my
I
life.
gotta watch that, by the way. I haven't seen it.
It's on at 11 o'clock in the New York market. If you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning, the Philly market, they're on.
I'll get
Fox.
up at 3 for that.
Or go to bed at 3. You know, you have to get up. You know, some people are just coming in. I'll say this to you. I learned this working for Congressman Andrews. You go to places where people don't agree with you sometimes, and you have the debate, you have the discussion. You can't be afraid. He used to get criticized for going on Fox News Channel as a Democrat. Why would you go there? And we're like, because you need to go there. We need to represent ourselves in that place. You need to not be afraid of a debate and an argument and a discussion. And by the way, go win your side. And I believe this. This is what we do in cannabis advocacy. We are not going to sit and talk amongst ourselves. We got to go out into the community and get that soccer mom and say, no. Little Johnny isn't going to be harmed by legalization because little Johnny can go out and get cannabis right now, and he can do it on a street corner where it's not regulated. We know what's in it, right?
There's an opportunity that I'd had, but I have to pass up on when I realized it's for this next Thursday, not Wednesday, and I realized that a week and a half ago or so. Invited by the Bergen County Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse to be at Bergen Community College, and and I said okay at first, and Joanne Zito's up there. Ken can't be there. He's going to be in Jamaica. Joanne's better than not having anybody go. It turns out it's Kevin Sabet. He's the keynote speaker. So what I'm doing, and I'll be talking with people off air about, is I'd like to, I'm not, somebody that knows him better than Joanne to show up.
We'll talk after. I have some ideas.
You might know somebody.
I have a couple suggestions for you. By the way, some folks that have sparred against the bet and done really well. So, by the way, I'm an old Bergen guy too. I'm born and raised up in Bergen County. So my mom and dad are. Maybe I'll take a ride up, my friend. I'll bring my mom and dad. They're not supporters of this yet, but we'll get them there.
Yeah. Well,
let's
kind of what I'm aiming at, but
Maybe Kennedy will be there too.
Oh, I'm all in on that one. He's looking to maybe run for U.S. Senate, but I wanted to talk to you guys if you want to about what happened on Tuesday, but what's going to happen next.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Awesome, because I think I saw some stuff from the many followers that we have in this movement.
And
right?
he sounded like our president for a second. Many followers.
How dare you,
The
sir.
biggest
I'm
crowd
done.
of followers anybody's ever
I'm
seen.
shutting your mic off, Jim. That's it. Your mic's off.
I've never been more offended by anything ever said to me in my life. No, just kidding. I think that one of the benefits that we have with the tremendous advocacy army that's been built on this topic, right? And it's everyone.
We do got a good army.
We do. But they're not necessarily experts in how government works and what happens next.
No,
and
still
that's
learning.
Okay. Well, as they should be, right? But we have an army of citizen advocates now that are motivated, interested, educating, but we have to educate them too. And so I saw something today about, does this mean I can light up on, anywhere now? No, we haven't legalized cannabis yet. We have elected a governor who's the governor-elect who will assume office on January 16th, right? That's when the reorganization happens, who intends to legalize cannabis. And so the great news for us right now is for the first time in a very, very long time in this state, we actually have leadership inbound that embraces where we are. Right? That's a momentous effort that we shouldn't lose sight of. But we're not there yet. And the next step now becomes, how do we get there? And we have hearts and minds that we still need to win. This effort is slated for the first 100 days of the new governor's term. So he's going to be sworn in on January 16th. Now, another person who I've
The effort meaning that after 100 days, the goal would be to have it ready for signing?
A piece of legislation. Well, no, he wants to get this done within 100 days. It could happen day 2, right? Yeah. But somebody said, well, the day he's sworn in, if this isn't legalized, we failed. No, because that's not how government works.
That's why we need you and people like you, especially at NJUMR, because you do have inside experience.
And so do you now. You guys have been lobbyists.
We do, but we have trial and error that we've found to work. But what I'm trying to do also, because we think alike, you and I do, and that's why I simply posted adult social use of cannabis.
I saw that. I like it.
In quotes, and then I said, it rolls right off my tongue. Try it. You might like it. And I didn't mean, you know, and I know there's many other ways, but I try to tell people, listen, you want to sit down and have a talk. I smoke pot. Sometimes I smoke herb. When I advocate, I consume cannabis.
And listen, I've changed too, because, you know, we
I
used
dress like that if I'm going somewhere
and
important.
with the wooden tie, right?
With the wooden tie, sometimes, actually, I've been told, you know, this is important. Don't wear the wooden tie.
Sometimes you don't wear the wooden tie.
I
You gotta-
agree,
the
but see,
coordinating fashion's important.
it's the advice. 25 years ago, the one thing I desperately needed was advice, and I couldn't find anybody. The first person to offer me advice I haven't talked to in over 25 years, a man named Robert Lawrence in Florida, had an acronym for a group he had down there, TEACH, Therapeutic and Ecumenical Applications of Cannabis Hemp. And I thought, what a great acronym. And, you know, I got hold of him. We talked because I was getting ready to walk across state in '93, and I didn't know, you know, what do you got for me?
Right, right.
You know, I can't just say because it works on Cheryl. But anyway, I always thought that was a, you know, and I'm thinking of that now as I thought of all the other things. But, you know, it's not free to weed. Recreational weed, actually that fits together because recreational weed, almost I could see that in a cartoon, you know.
Well, and remember, we're still debunking generations of reefer madness that we have to continue. But in going back to this point of managing the expectations of the folks that have been fighting for so long, is that we're almost there, and we're better than we were yesterday.
We are so close. They don't realize what a goal of 100 days, how amazing that is.
Well, and let's talk about
That's
that.
amazing.
What does that mean?
That's amazing good.
So Murphy's going to come in, and he's right now developing his transition team. And there are going to be a lot of folks that are involved in this movement, and probably folks I'm sitting with here today that are going to hopefully be involved in some of that transition effort.
I'm looking for them because I'm.
It's going to be across the board. It's going to be advocates. It's going to be lobbyists. It's going to be experts. It's going to be a lot of different people that are going to help frame this, because we want to hit the ground running. Now, that work's going to go on from the executive branch, but inside this building right now, the legislature is reconvening for this term. This term ends on January 16th as well.
Yeah.
So, and the new legislature will reconvene. We're going to have different leadership in the houses. It looks like Senate President Sweeney, who's been a proponent of this, is going to continue in his role as Senate President. They're going to have that vote today. It looks like the current Speaker, though, Speaker Prieto, may not be coming back in his leadership role, and instead we're going to have someone new, and that looks to be a gentleman by the name of Craig Coughlin, who also is favorable towards where we are on legal adult use
More
cannabis.
so than Speaker Prieto?
I wouldn't say more so. I think Speaker Prieto was a tremendous proponent of this effort, and you know, in regular meetings that advocates would have with him, he was very supportive of it and working within the caucus to get there. That work will continue, and I think Craig Coughlin will absolutely be helpful there. But Reed Gashura, who's been the lead in the Assembly, is continuing to work on what we'll call his version of a bill. Michael Patrick Carroll, who's on the Republican side, by the way, has a bill. I think in his most honest moment, Michael will tell you he didn't think that bill was going to go anywhere, right? It was more right now.
Cannabis consumers like his bill
They
best.
do. And
But what you're talking about is this something we can get done in there?
So thank you, Jim. What I'm talking about is folks have to realize the process in there if they want to affect the process in there, and that, you know, demanding that Michael Patrick Carroll's bill gets passed is probably not going to happen because of politics, partisan politics, also some rational reasons behind the bill. Demanding that you can, you know, have home grow on your front lawn instead of, grass, lawn grass, not other grass, is probably not realistic and probably not going to happen given the concerns. But I don't think we should take off our foot off the gas pedal on demanding that home grow be a component in this bill. And I know the Senator Scutari, has some concerns over that issue, and we've talked about what those are.
Will he publicly address them at some point?
Of course he will. Of course he will. It's not been ripe yet, right? We haven't had a bill move out. We've had hearings on it, but we haven't had a bill move.
I can appreciate having the discussion, certainly not until at least now the election's done and all.
Sure.
And I find this is very fertile ground, the lame duck session, to be doing that without a total sense of urgency because the clock is ticking on the homework, the groundwork.
It's preseason. It's draft work, right?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing's live yet. But I'll give you this example. Senate President Sweeney articulated the other day that he has some new concerns regarding legal banking related to this, right? And he wants to examine that. that may dovetail in, and he indicated, that may dovetail into Phil Murphy's idea for a state bank. And it would be revolutionary because no other state's done this way. So there's some innovation going on and problem solving. And what we're going to continue to do, and what we've all done really well, is we aren't going to stop when we hit a problem. We're going to issue spot and work around them right together. And so Senator Scutari's relayed to us a primary concern on home grow was because of the co-op abuse that went on in Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And we have a new concern over the fact that Trump sessions have started to crack down in some respects on diversion, right? The diversion of legalized product out into a black market. And so clamping down on that is a concern, or having a structure in place when you legalize for proactive reasons to stop any scrutiny on that is another one. So, but guess what? We don't say no to home grow as a concern of that. We say we're going to build these sort of mechanisms around it to protect against that.
Yeah, this is the whole microcosm theory of the United States, that one state can do it. Oh, Colorado, we sit and we watch them. And there will be problems. I mean, there is no law or bill ever passed into law that was perfect. None are. There are always going to be loopholes. So, that should not be a reason there's going to be diversion. And, I don't know how you would even address it, but the diversion from the legal market into the black market I find almost humorous, because it's like saying we want to protect cartels and gangs from their profit too. Whoa. I mean, if it was legal, that means had tax been paid on, or is this going to be grown on the side legal? That's not a legal grow.
Actually, the concern more right now is that, and listen, it's a false concern. If we had a legalized federal system, we wouldn't be having this discussion, right?
And if we had a federal banking considerations, we wouldn't have
none of
either.
it would be a concern.
Can you explain the state bank? What is that all about?
Yeah, basically, Phil Murphy's idea, and it's not original, and I'm not criticizing him. He'll be the first one to tell you. He said, we're not going to create all these new ideas. We're going to rob from some places, too, that are doing it right. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
New Jersey, hey, good.
And he's taken a look at, I believe, where South Dakota has created a state bank. And the premise behind it is, when the state does banking, right, they go to a bank, and the bank earns money on that interest, right? We're dealing with, not my bank account, millions upon millions of dollars that are going through and transacting. And, you look at, let's take for an example, right, higher ed. If I want to go to college, or I want to go to some other form of higher education, I have to go out and take student loans out at exorbitant rates, right?
Yep.
And even if I'm going through the federal government. Phil Murphy's idea is maybe there's a better way where we can loan money out through the state bank that would be beneficial to our students in our state, and help to keep them here and help make college more affordable. And that's just one idea, is you start taking the power of the purse, the large power of this large purse, and utilizing it for the public rather than to benefit sort of banks and other and ideas. And so it is not without its own criticisms. It is an interesting idea. It is different than what we've seen. And by the way, from my standpoint, with the folks sitting around this table, I am interested to see how it could be an application to our issue related to banking legally for cannabis business.
It sounds like it could be applied.
I think it might be, and I like the fact that Sweeney's thinking about that. That's outside the box thinking. It's good. It's cooperative thinking, right? Working together, legislator and executive. We've got a problem to get this bill done. We don't have the votes in the legislature yet. I'm not worried. I think we're going to get them. But we've got to help Phil Murphy now. And everyone's viewpoint is, oh, great, Phil Murphy won. We can ease off the gas. No. Now we got to go help Phil Murphy, and we got to go help Steve Sweeney. We got to help Nick Scutari. We got to help Reed Gashore. We got to help all the other partners in that legislative building to get what we want done. And by the way, what we want done is what we want done, not necessarily what they want done. We have to educate them about what they want to get done.
And why we want what we want. And when they find a really common thread, I hope they would consider it. That's going to be interesting.
It is.
I mean, I just hope that we have a seat at the tables that are going to be going around. And that's why I'm really glad to have you stop by as often as you do. You're probably our best source of information, and I have the smallest amount of filtering to do when you're talking, and that's a compliment, by the way. I don't know if anybody, in other words, we got to look for between the lines with whatever anybody says while we're talking.
All I
And
know-
very seldom with you. I mean, you're pretty straightforward.
All I know is in this business that I have, right, I know a lot about a lot of things that some people probably will never know and shouldn't know and don't want to know and all that stuff. But I have a duty to educate folks that I'm working with, right, to understand it so we can all do this together. We have a lot of new faces around this table, not this one here, but this larger table and some have pure motivations and others don't.
Yeah.
I welcome everybody in, okay, because we're all rowing in the same direction, I think. But I am concerned that who is going to be around that table. And, I work with an organization that I think is pure in motive. NJUMR was founded on racial, social justice, partnered with the medicinal community because of the broken medicinal law we had. We had real goals about educating the public about the problems of prohibition and what we've lost, right, as an opportunity cost in a workforce, in revenue, in fairness and social justice. And I think we've all collectively done a pretty darn good job in doing that thus far. The industry's coming in, right? We all knew that, we expected that. And I'm not worried about that because I think that's a positive too.
Yeah.
And I think harnessed the right way, I think there are some good actors that can be beneficial, but they don't get to drive this. They get to be at the table with us. And I think that's the key here, that we all have to be sitting around a table talking about these things. I had a conversation with one of the larger dispensary efforts that wants to come in and is interested in Jersey as a legal economy, and that's exciting. It's good, and we were talking about it, and I talked to him about home grow, and he goes, "Oh, I'm worried about that." And I go, "Why?" And he goes, and I said, "Competition? Really? Like you're worried?" And he laughed. He goes, "No." He goes, "That's a fool's errand." He goes, "But some of my colleagues are." And I said, "Well, I'll tell you one thing. This guy, this lawyer, this dad, this guy that's worked, I'm not growing this stuff. We can't grow basil at my house. There's no way." But we don't lose anything by allowing it, and there is a concern over diversion, right? But that to me says, let's do it right then, right? Let's get it done.
Once again, if there's a concern for diversion, it's better diversion than the black market is offering right now and where the money's going to. I'm not saying that should be a factor in anything. I'm just noticing that the money's still in circulation, even though it's done on a diversionary basis. And I myself would rather, I've heard the stories of its gangs and organized crime and, which is where the black market marijuana comes from. And if that's so, then I'd rather see them undercut by diversion from the state as opposed to them getting it. It's not like either is good.
You know what I think the real answer is, Jim? For the moneyed interests that want to come in, and I'm not making a judgment here, I'm just making a point. The moneyed interests when come in, they don't have a stake in that game, they don't care. I think the smarter ones realize it's not necessarily about competition. What they are worried about is it puts a target on New Jersey for the dastardly tactics that would go on from the federal government and potentially could upset the apple cart. And so in the most altruistic view I can paint this from the industry view is, hey, you guys, we're worried about this effort because if it's not done right, it exposes all of us. And my answer is then sit back and watch, because we're going to work on this, we're going to take care of it, we're going to get it done right. And the answer isn't no, it's here's how, right? And that's, I think, the way to get it done. The other thing I'd say to you is there's starting to be a debate right now, which, one of the things I'm always amazed by is as you get close to the goal, you sometimes take 2 steps back. And for a very long time, the medicinal community, that really I think is mostly rooted here, has been aligned with the legalized community. In fact, in some ways, there's been a blur between where one ends and where one starts.
Yeah, correct.
This organization, the advocacy has done yeoman's work in the darkest of times to expand medicinal marijuana with a governor that had no desire to do so. And it really is a tremendous testament to you folks getting PTSD done.
That took a long time, a lot
did,
longer than people know.
It did, but I remember in 2008, 2009, when we implemented this law, it was a different time, and we said we were going to start slow, and boy, have we. We have not implemented this law the way it was supposed to be. Today, we're getting there, but we're not there yet. Now, what I'm starting to hear, though, is we shouldn't go to legalization until we expand medicinal now. And I think there's a lot of competing theories as to who might be driving that message. I don't know that it's necessarily a pure one, but to the patient advocates out there that have been waiting and frustrated for so long, I say this to you. help is on the way, and it's getting there, but it's going to happen now, too. We don't have to wait for Murphy. There's a process going on through the state, through this DOH right now, that is going to expand some of these conditions.
Oh, you know what today is then?
I do, yeah.
Kathleen Bennett's last day.
Yeah, I know. And by the way, I think there's some positives that are coming out of this. But I think the next step is, that we're going to see is there's a reality coming that we don't need new legislation to continue to move and advance on what we're doing on medicinal. We have a framework there. And I think that the change in executive alone may be enough that through the Department of Health, through the executive branch, they're going to start relaxing some of the issues that we've seen. And therefore, I don't want to take our foot off the gas on legalization, because if we take our foot off the gas of legalization and we give people, the thing you have to realize here is these folks in this building, these legislators who are good, honest people will take the path of least resistance when presented. So right now, medicinal marijuana is polling in unbelievable, you know when you started this, we're in the 90s now, right? We're in the 90s, polling in the 90s in terms of support. So if I go to any legislator and say, hey, listen, forget about legalization right now, let's go expand medicinal. Okay, great, that's easy. There's no one's against that. I mean, there may be a couple, handful.
Well, when it's in often it'd be like 91 and 7%, and 2 aren't even in.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's even greater. When the first bill came out with 86%, it was 11% against, not 14.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it was almost 8 times larger. It was
There's always a couple that don't understand the question.
Yeah, but there's almost no room left when you get to 90-some percent. That's when you go to the list of things that are more like canker sores or something. You know, I mean, it's sort of like people are less afraid of.
I don't in any way, and sitting across from two folks that have been the stalwarts in terms of this advocacy movement, I don't want to diminish the rights, the needs, the importance of the folks that have been advocating for the medicinal side of this. It is not to do that. It is to focus the attention on where it's needed, because I do not believe that we are going to need a heavy push to expand the medicinal program the way it was intended and continue.
Yeah.
I think where we should focus, because if we don't legalize, we still don't change the stigma, we don't change the availability, and the other thing we start to do is we don't deal with any of the racial and social justice, criminal justice issues that are being ignored right now because of the legal issues related.
Well, let me put that together, everything that we're talking about here. One thing I know a lot of patients would be wanting me to interject right now is there a possibility of getting home grow for patients like the 2009 version Senator Scutari himself authored?
Yes.
If he liked it then,
Yeah.
this is so far later, and he knows how many people have died not getting their full supply of medicine. He knows all this. They're asking me, what are the chances? And I keep telling them, it doesn't matter what the chances are. If that's what you want, speak up.
It's a great point. Now, let me say this to you. This is a place where I don't think the governor's going to have the ability to do this through executive order or through the department.
No, legislative process.
It is statutory change.
Yeah.
But I would say this to you. Rather than nitpick on the edges, let's go for the gusto. We want home grow in a legalized bill, regardless of status.
Well, this, again, my point. So when it starts to look like, I don't think it's going to be in, here's what patients are going to want to do. They're going to want to
carve out,
rise up.
No. It's a carve out. What we do is go for the best that you can. I want a
carve out. You want to carve out?
We want to make sure that we get this for everybody. But if they can't, and they won't, and this dies in this building, and I'm not ready to submit to that yet. I think we still have an ability to get home grow in this bill. But if it won't, then we say, well, then fine. Then how about just for medicinal patients, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
And the other thing I would say to you, too, that I really do think is a place that we should spend some capital and some time on. We should not tax medicine. We should not tax medicine.
Thank you.
But we have to balance it, okay? Because let's face it, it's money. Okay? And it's money in a place where we don't have enough of it to spend.
Yeah.
And these guys are driven by that. And we can judge it, we can say it's awful, we can horrible, but let's be adults and understand what goes on in there. Here's the point. It's $1 million in revenue in a $34 billion economy.
Yes.
We're about to change the paradigm now to tax and regulate legalized marijuana, where we estimate we're going to be able to raise $300 million to $1 billion in new revenue. We don't need this revenue from sick people anymore.
No, we don't. I don't think we ever did. But on the other side of the coin, for a patient to understand that, and I know they can when they're not in pain, what they're telling me, and I've analyzed this, is the patients who cannot afford their full 2-ounce supply, they run out before they run out of 2 ounces. They run out of money because many are on a fixed income, and they only have a certain amount. And what happens is when they run out of medicine, they've paid a certain amount of sales tax. And when you take that sales tax, it turns out to be a day and a half worth of medicine. If you run it at 3 weeks, you would have had a day and a half more of medicine, 36 hours. It works out to be 50.
Wow. There's a price on
It
suffering.
works out to be, for those 36 hours of pain, the 36 hours, the $18 the state gets, cost that person 36 hours of pain. The next time somebody's in pain, I would suggest, would you give 50 cents to get rid of it?
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's
There's a price on pain, New Jersey.
So there's a certain reality, and you know as well as I do, that's what the best part of campaigning with Cheryl was. I walked in with her. I win, you lose. Now let's negotiate how.
And let's figure it out. But I go back to where we started this discussion was, it is our duty to educate our friends. It is our duty to educate the army of people that are going to be at rallies, at meetings with legislators, at meetings with mayors. And I'll get to that in a second, because that's the next step that we're going to have to do at the local level. But it is our duty here, for those of us that know and understand, to educate the process. This isn't legal right now. Phil Murphy won. That's a great first step, but we got a long way to go yet. Not too long. A lot of us have been doing this for decades.
Not by legislative standards. This is a home stretch still.
We have some time left on the clock, but you have to understand what's going to happen. It's not a delay. Nobody's screwing you.
Stuff's
They're not going
going
back
on.
on their word. He just got elected. He doesn't assume office until the 16th of January. In that time, they're going to be working on a lot of things. The legislature's going to be active. We may have more hearings going on. In addition to that, folks that are holding on for relief right now on the medicinal side, help's on the way there. We are going to continue to expand, and that could happen pre-January 16th and certainly following in those days. But in that 100 days between January 16th and the budget, we are going to find that is going to be the sweet spot in the time where the legalization debate's going to happen, but it doesn't leave the medicinal advocacy outside, because we need the medicinal advocates to be talking, as they have been in partners here, but we also need to advocate for what we want. We need to tell the legislature and the executive branch, stop taxing medicine. Give the ability for poor, sick folks to be able to grow their own medicine. We have to make this more accessible too. And if there are statutory reasons, I think grow at home would be one, and certainly removing the tax would be another. Those have to be coupled, but they should be coupled in the legalized bill, because then you have the full
I agree with
ability.
that. Now, the tax is in the bill.
Yes.
Is it not?
Yeah.
In other words, the medicinal tax would be rescinded
Yes.
if this
Yes.
were signed into law. So that says that's really good to recognize that. On the other hand, again, what patients say is, well, when was it ever right? In other words, it does, and I don't know how to it's great that it got that attention, but if it's in that bill for legalization, it's the money you were talking about, the $1 million, it could be done with now. And by the way, patients very much want to be heard about getting home grow provisions in the legalization bill as adults.
Yes.
Because they didn't get it when they should have for patients.
Absolutely.
So they're very willing, and I'm hoping many are willing to be educated, and I will be trying to pass on to the people who actually do go to the CMMMJ Facebook page and who weigh, and even when you don't see them weighing in, there's a lot of people looking at that.
Always.
So I'd like to help play a part in making sure that we can keep an eye on the legislative realities that are beyond what we would know, any more than I know what goes on when my car goes to get fixed. I don't know the nuts and bolts. I do know deals have to be made. I do know that people get elected with good intentions. They come and they find out what you're telling me about. themselves that it isn't just that easy to do all the things you want to do without giving somewhere else and shifting a little. It's
There's a lot of interest in this issue in the legislature, which is a credit to all of us that have been talking about this for a very long time. You've seen the attitudes change towards you guys sitting out here, the people that are willing to stop now, say hello, chat. They walked by with kind of blinders on before, like, I'm not talking to those guys.
They did.
I got the same reaction, by the way. I've been inside that building. I mean, the snickers, the laughs. I tell people.
Just for hanging around with us?
No. For when I became more vocal, when I left the staffing roles that I've been, because I was a behind the scenes guy. You shouldn't have known my opinion on anything. I worked for them. That was my role. Now I'm out. I'm on my own guy, right? I'm Bill Caruso now. I'm not a staffer anymore, so I can have my own opinions on this, including this thing. And when I did, I had a lot of people look at me and go, "Why are you throwing your career away? Why are you involving yourself in a topic like this? This isn't smart." And you know what? I don't care. That's not how people feel now, by the way. That's not how people feel now.
It's changed exponentially.
But one other thing that we have to do, and I think this is both on the legal side and the medicinal side. You've been doing this, and I forget we're on radio, so I can't look at you and say this. It's on TV. Lefty, you've done an amazing job on a lot of this stuff, and frankly, you've done it in a way that I don't necessarily always agree with.
I know nobody does.
But you got your own style. You be you, right? And Jim, you've done this too.
He's the best.
But we have an education process that needs to go on at the local level.
We need to get better at educating people.
Well, and we're working together on that.
Lefty has become educated.
How to educate?
Because I'm rubbing off on him, and some of him is rubbing off on me.
It is.
It's a mutual
Actually,
benefit.
we are melding more than, but we always started out the way I described it is we have a good solid overlap. If you put one disc over another, we have and we have opposite points. But to Lefty's credit, he's at the top of my list. For when I feel I want to educate him about something, he takes it seriously. He doesn't put up an instant defense. He never says, "But what about you?"
No,
in
but it's
any
not
way,
what it's
shape, or
about.
form.
Yeah.
But that's what I tell him all the time is that's why he's finding. He's that trouble in Linden. We're looking at a picture. I go, "You said you were going to wear a tie and jacket. You know how good that picture would be with a tie and jacket? Look at you."
Well,
and it wasn't like, "That's my right to wear what I want."
I just want to
man."
say this to you. It takes a village, right, to do this, but I am
Not the village of
appreciative-
Linden, though.
I'm appreciative of the hats that you wear in this, because you're not only an advocate, you're not only a mentor, you're not only an educator, but you're also a fashion coordinator now, too. I like that. That's important stuff.
And I learned that. I look back sometimes at the Institute of Medicine offered their assessment of marijuana, the science base, in 1999 after a year and a half study. It was huge. They had Cheryl and me down. It was more media than I saw when we got arrested. It was more. I've never seen that much media. And the last thing somebody told me is, "Jim, whatever you do, wear some sort of jacket and tie." I've never wore a jacket and tie. I wore my high school clothes. I didn't wear jeans.
Yeah.
And when I bought the USA Today, actually, when I bought 6 copies of the USA Today the next day, it was because there was our picture on the 6th page on the Washington, or the 3rd Washington section, the Washington picture. And I had a tie and jacket on. It looked so appropriate, and man, was I happy.
Well, let's jump off that point, because I think this is an important thing.
But that's why we got you. See, right now, you go in and represent, and I sit out here.
But we all can, and let's talk about this. So a little decorum.
You need a
number
pot
one.
leaf on your lapel there.
Soon.
Just
we
kidding.
got. It's crawl, walk, run, right? But the biggest problem I see
That's
beyond the legislature, and I don't think we're going to have a problem with the new governor, is going to be the next round in the communities, and we have to educate mayors, county officials as to where this is going to be, or else we're going to be Massachusetts, because in Massachusetts they legalize through a ballot referendum and then through the action of the legislature. And what happened next? Mayors in droves began writing policies for their towns through town ordinances and other things to ban the sale of legal cannabis. If we win here in this state house and lose at the courthouse level and at the mayor, the town hall level, we've done nothing, right? So A lot of folks are sitting at home right now. A lot of folks are on social media, and they're involved. You've seen the masses coming up, right? They're excited. They came out and voted this election.
Yep.
Cannabis was on the ballot this year. Now they want to know what to do. Well, here's something you can do, but it's got to be done right. Put on a shirt and tie. Call your mayor up. Go sit down and talk to them about why you believe in this. Do it in a respectful way. Don't challenge them. Don't tell them you're going to vote them out of office. Don't make unnecessary threats. Go educate. Go sit down. Tell them why you want cannabis in your town.
Would that be at a council meeting, maybe?
Well, it might be, or it might be
Or
sitting
just
down.
actually try to
I'm
get
a big
to the
fan.
mayor?
I'm a big fan of sitting down one-on-one if you can.
Oh, if you can.
Because if you can't, then you got to go do the next round. But again, if you're going to do that, we'll talk about it. You got to be respectful. You can't come in yelling and screaming like
Yeah.
a maniac.
No,
You
Or
know?
a camera?
I went to.
Well, listen, Lefty, people are going to look at what you do, and they're going to think, oh, I can do that too, and I don't think they can. You have a different style. You've got a different report. By the way, you've also got relationships with law enforcement now because people know you're coming.
Yeah.
You've also done some very skillful things in terms of your education where it looks, I think, a little bit more confrontational than it really is sometimes.
6 wheelchair accessibility
7.
ramps.
Yeah, 7 ramps.
But, and then,
Nothing to do with cannabis.
I was just
but
going to say,
while
put
we're-
aside the good value and what you're
Yeah.
doing there too. So I do
Yeah.
think you have a different style.
With
but
that
people
style.
at home are going to look at that and go, I'm going
Yeah.
to be Lefty, or I'm going to be Jim, or I'm going to be Bill Caruso. No, you're not. You're going to be you. Be you. But do this. Common sense. This isn't about government. This isn't about lobbying. This is about, if I showed up in your living room and I started screaming at you that I didn't like the color of your couch, you're going to yell at me to get the hell out of your living room,
You'd
right?
be right, but I wouldn't want you screaming.
Yeah.
But if I came into your living room, invited,
Yeah.
and we sat down and we had a discussion about why I think blue is a better color than red, and I
Yeah.
was able to convince you, that's a legitimate conversation.
Yeah.
This is just common sense. This is what we learned in kindergarten. So people have to remember that. And people, there's a lot of folks at home going, oh, well, I'm not as powerful as these guys, right? Sure you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not special.
Yeah,
We're not special.
I went to a Maple Shade Council meeting when they were hearing about having a potential dispensary. It was the
Yeah.
first township that was having a council meeting the first time around. I went there. I could not believe it. It was like Monty Python, a search for the Holy Grail. Burn him, burn her. He's dressed like a pothead. You dress me this way.
Where Jenny Barber's from, by the
But,
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so, I went there, and I was one of very few people that offered testimony. I mean, Colleen Bagley was like protecting me with her camera. People were taking video of me, and she'd take video of them taking video of me,
I love
It was
that.
bizarre. And I tried to tell them, I said, to the people worried about traffic, litter, I've heard all these things. I said, let me give you some numbers here. And I gave them some numbers and showed really quick that if that dispensary were to open today, they would have somewhere between 12 and 16 patients per day if a person went once a month. So,
Right.
But you could be a patient and never see another patient there right now. There's so few people. I mean, there was 2,000 people in the program then.
Well, and I think one thing you're going to see
It
that
was
will
pitchforks, man.
it is. I think some of that will change. I think
Well,
that-
that's what I was there to do. I wanted to,
I think the two things that are going to change, Jim, are
I wore a tie, by the way.
there's 3 things that'll change actually. There are going to be more Jim Millers in that meeting this time. There are going to be more people that are going to come out, and that's why I think it's the most important appeal I will make to people here today is do the front end work on educating today. I mean, give your mayor a call today.
But on the national level, I saw a lot of anger, a lot of women especially. They started showing up, and I just would watch TV and go, look at these legislators that are getting shouted down by hundreds of women at a meeting. And it just, what happened is they showed up Tuesday
Yeah,
as well.
they did.
It-
And
it
listen,
was a
but-
surprise.
But there's a concern here because a lot of that movement may not be with us too.
No, I'm
right?
just
You know?
saying. I'm just saying that people know that they're here, and now here's their issue: cannabis.
Sure.
Will they show up?
Well-
Will it give other people propensity to show up?
I think the concern right now is if it's done right, the advocacy's done right, it will be beneficial. Now, this is the front end work. The back end work comes, as you discussed in Maple Shade, and this is where I think the other 2 prongs come in. If a council decides to adopt an ordinance, and people need to be vigilant, right? We're going to need our army out there to keep an eye on what's going on in your town. But if a town's proposing an ordinance, right now what's going on is I've heard a lot of local officials that have said, hey, I like the ability to tuck this away and grow it over in the industrial park, but I don't want this on Main Street, right? And I get that, I understand it, but if we're just growing it and not able to sell it, whether it's on a medicinal or recreational
Right.
basis, we're going to have a problem here, right? So And we also want this evenly distributed. Scutari has a provision in his bill that requires it to be in every county. I'm not sure how enforceable that's going to be. We'll have to look at that. But our Army has the ability to help on this. So if you notice that there is an ordinance being proposed related to this, and one sneaky way that it's done, by the way, is they can't limit cannabis businesses. They limit the ability to have anything cited that is illegal in the eyes of the state or federal law. Okay?
Yeah.
So we've got to go educate then. And that's where they can tap into resources like this organization, NJUMR, and others out there that can come help and bring support to these meetings. The other side of the coin that you're also going to see is you're going to see industry. And I know we are very cautious about industry, and we should be cautious about industry. But industry wants, in generalities, a common goal with what we want too, the ability to sell and have these things. And by the way, they want to keep the tax rate down. There's a lot of common ground in where the industry is. We should utilize the industry to our advantage, not the other way around. Use them for us. That moneyed interest lobbying power, they're going to show up in these council meetings. They're going to say no. There was a dispensary that was trying to be cited there that day. We should go in and support these things and be partners in this effort, in those small spaces where you can actually see, like, wait a minute, we're going to get with the suits? We're going to hang out with them? Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Because we're going to try to make sure that we don't get defeated. We win here and get defeated at the local level, we've won nothing. So we all have to be mobilized and ready to go. So I think that's where we're going now. I mean, I'm excited. We've been waiting for a very long time. And what we're about to do is we're about to see this come into fruition, but we cannot clutch defeat from the jaws of victory now.
Yeah.
Do you think that cannabis is going to be rescheduled in New Jersey before Phil Murphy takes office?
No, I don't know what that means, to be honest with you. I think, frankly, that will become a moot point when Murphy takes office. I said if previously because it was before the election. Somebody else asked me that question. I think that was a brushback pitch to the governor, the current governor. Get with the program, man.
Yeah, it's kind of
like, well, how can you not recognize this? But I don't think we're going to have a problem with this governor recognizing it. I expect profound changes upon him being sworn in terms of the culture that goes on in state government related to this. Not just in terms of how we treat patients for getting their medicine, but also how they're treated in departments. Remember, I'm going to say this to you, and I'll share some personal stuff here. Without going into medical issues, I could qualify for a card. I will not, because I don't want to be on a list. And the reason why I don't is because of the stigma. And that, to me, is a problem. And that doesn't change. And I spoke with a senior citizen the other day who told me she would never, ever utilize cannabis. And I said, why? Why wouldn't you do that? Now, there's some cultural issues there because it's illegal. And I said, well, medicinal isn't. Oh, pish posh. It's illegal. The state made it illegal.
She said pish posh.
She'd say pish posh. I don't say pish posh.
I've never heard that. That sounded like an old term.
No, I got a pish posh back, and I respect pish posh. I do. That's
I'm going to add that to my list of things I'm going to
pish
say one
posh,
day.
not in my repertoire. It's just not my thing. But she gave me a pish posh back and said it's illegal. And I thought about that. I was literally we're driving away from this. It was a meeting I was at. And she was talking to me about this, and I'm like, wow. So she's going to suffer. You know, and I said to her, God forbid, what if you're afflicted with something where the doctor says, because they do, you know, they whisper in your ear, now, I can't tell you this, but you should really try to, you know. Yeah. I don't care. And I said, wow, that was her rationale. That was her reason. So, you know, looking at that, this goes back to this point about the dovetail between medicinal and legalization. Yeah. If we continue to expand medicinal, that is great. That is good. That will help, but it doesn't change the stigma, and it doesn't change all the issues.
I've heard that story without the pish posh, and many forms. People just not wanting, and a lot of times it's the way they were brought up before I was brought up, and my response normally would be with something similar to that if I knew the person had some. I said, but you have people that care about you. Sometimes being about yourself really isn't about you. It's other people. So basically, I do cite a true story where it was a man, and he was maybe 88. And he never used cannabis when he could have, and his passing would have at the very least been more comfortable. And he realized that at the end of his life, which hurt the kids in double ways. One, they couldn't convince him, and then he realized that they, you know, at that most important moment. So I would advise people like the woman you were talking about, that did you talk to people that are going to miss you when you're gone and stuff? I mean, it goes beyond.
But Jim, it's simpler than
just
that.
the legality.
This person articulated the key reason why. I mean, listen, they're gonna, when we legalize this, and when we expand medicinal, there's still going to be people out there. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
I won't take an opioid right now. I had a doctor prescribe for a shoulder injury I have an opioid, and I told him no, I wouldn't take it. And I have no desire to take it because I don't want it. I just have no desire to do it. I'll manage the pain myself, and you can
You know,
guess
for
how
the
and why.
for the majority of pain, people can do that if that's their design.
But I will say this to you: there are going to be people out there that don't, for whatever reason. They don't like the taste. They don't like the smell. They don't, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to do it. They're okay. That's fine. That's your choice, right? But the fact that there's people out there that will live in pain,
Yeah.
and or by the way, seek out some other more harmful drug because of the legal stigma attached to this, we can fix that. And that's what I think is one of the more important parts. There's a generational issue with here, sure, right? You know, and by the way, that generation was more willing to suffer in pain, right? And you
Yeah.
know, but they don't need to. And I think that was a point you were making too, is that we really don't need to deal with this way. We can deal with it in a different way. And I think that legalization helps with a lot of that stuff.
And I think when people realize that they don't have to smoke, that there's an oil, you
Of
can
course,
just say
yeah.
it's a little the size of a grain of rice under your tongue.
And you don't have to get high either. I mean, there's CBD treatments that have no psychotropic
Yeah.
effects, right? So you're basically fine. We continue with the education going on, debunking reefer madness. We continue with the education going on about all the benefits. I had a conversation with a client today who actually said to me, you know, I just think this whole thing is crazy. What are we doing for our kids? And I go, your kids? Your kids are getting weed right now. I go, they're getting it anywhere they want. And I said, so that's your concern. I said, you should be on board with this.
Yeah,
and she
you know,
kind of looked
yeah.
at me like kind of with this look like, I never thought of it that way.
You
right?
know, it's the story I read. It was in whatever newspaper about one of the gatherings on the Common in Massachusetts, in Boston, whatever that's called every year, every
Yeah.
summer. And there was done without two 16-year-olds sitting on a blanket, and they were discreetly drinking some beer. And the person, without using their names or taking pictures, do you mind if we talk? And they did. And she asked how it was they were able to get beer. And he said, we traded joints for it. So they could get the joints.
That's hilarious.
And then they could go there.
Yeah, to go get the
And
beer.
get somebody to get them
They got
beer
somebody to
for
go buy them
joints.
beer 'cause they couldn't go buy the
but
beer.
You're right, but the beer is regulated and the joints weren't. So that was their game, and it was the regulation of the alcohol that kept them from getting it, whether or not it would be, you know, I mean, and it has its own bad reputation, but the system could work with legalization and make it harder for teens to acquire cannabis.
Despite all the hysteria,
I'll claim that even if it's not true.
No, it is true, and despite all the hysteria that we're seeing about this, it is working. Like that we don't guess about this anymore. The sky didn't fall in Colorado or Washington State or anywhere else, by the way.
Or California, and the reason I know that is my first time I was at a dispensary with Gary Stork. I had to wait outside, and I'm cool with that. And it was like a shoe store here or another thing. So my God, nobody knew it. So there was people there. It was just fairly crowded, and I was looking straight up, and what happened is other people started looking up, kind of wondering what I was. As soon as a couple look up, then people are walking by looking up, and somebody's, what's up? And I go, the sky's not falling, man. I'm from New Jersey, and I heard the sky would fall. I'm standing right here, and the sky is not coming down.
It's great. It's great.
And then there, you know, so it was. You couldn't tell it was there. One thing, tell me if this is accurate. I read that Senator Scutari, after his trip, did he make 2 to Colorado or 1?
I know of one. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if he did another.
but anyway, that he didn't see anybody smoking it in public, and I thought that was pretty important, because if you're going around a major city in Colorado where it's legal, and you're not saying.
Sorry. That was so loud. Sorry.
Yeah, really, man.
Should I take this call?
I almost felt like the judge in court.
I think someone's calling into the show. I think we should call.
He's like, you got a call-in program now.
Go ahead, go for it.
Hello, you're on the air. This is Sativa Cross. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Who's this?
Hi, I'm calling to congratulate you because your online registration was selected for a free entry into tonight's $200 cash card giveaway to your choice of either Walmart, Target, or Walgreens.
Are you
Now
kidding
tell
me?
which retail
Walgreens.
store
Do
would you prefer?
Walgreens. I would do Walgreens.
Is this live? Are you live?
Okay, perfect. Just to let you know, this call.
Really?
Hello?
Sorry. Hi.
Oh, hi. Oh, I didn't know you. Yeah, hi. How are you? Yes, hi. Hello, I'm
Okay,
here.
perfect. Just to let you know, this call is being recorded for quality purposes, and I've gone ahead and noted down your
well,
Walgreens
we're recording you
gift
too,
card
so-
sponsored by researchrewards.net. And
Ditto.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Ditto. Ditto. We're doing the same thing. We're recording you for quality assurance ourselves. And you sound very good.
I
Thank
am
you.
a live person.
You are a live person. I thought you. I thought you were a really smart robot for a second there. But yeah, I want the Walmart thing. Whatever you got from Walmart. I go there all the time, 3 in the morning. Look at all the crazy people. Every time I go on.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Just to let you know, this call is being recorded.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. You don't sound live. You sound like
Okay,
a really
perfect.
smart.
Just to let you know,
You
this
sound
call
like a
is
really
being recorded for quality purposes, and I've gone ahead and noted down your Walmart gift card sponsored by researchrewards.net and sweepstakesentrycenter.com. Now, to finish off your entry, all we ask is that you answer a few simple lifestyle questions in our automated survey. It should take only less than a minute of your time, and if you agree and you'd like the gift card, I can transfer you now, okay?
Are you still alive? Are you still alive? Hello.
I am a live person.
You sounded. That sounds like a recording. That really sounds like a recording.
No.
No. You're not gonna fool me. I'm a sound guy 35 years. You're not gonna fool me. This is a recording, isn't it?
I am a live person.
You keep saying that. You keep repeating that same thing again. Say something different. Say, I am a live person. Say it, and I'll believe you.
I am a live person.
No, see, say person. Liar.
I'm sorry, I can see you're not interested. I'll remove you from our list, and I hope you have a great day.
I just called you a liar. I didn't say I wanted to be removed from the list. You don't know. I want to call her back. How dare you hang up on me? Sorry, Bill. I'm sorry to interrupt you with that crap.
Listen, it was a wonderful call, and you see the levels of support we have out there building, and it really is impressive. And people calling to offer gift cards now and other things. It really is an impressive performance here. But listen, we've got a lot of good things going on, and I was privileged to come here today to talk because I think, in addition to the good news, we have to focus on where the work's going to be now.
Well,
right?
there's national stuff going on right now in Ohio. Have you been keeping track of Ohio?
I haven't.
I'm going to tag you in this thing here. It's they tried to pass a legalization bill, jumped right over medical marijuana, never even went for medical, went right for legalization.
Yeah.
And it was failed. Now they have a bunch of high, wealthy investors that are taking over this whole thing. I'll tag you in this whole thing. I should read the story to you. It's amazing. If you got a second, it takes 2 seconds here.
Tag me in it because
Yeah.
I like to see it. By the way, I apologize. I'm going to run because I got to go I'm doing another tape and I'm doing
Okay.
Chasing New stuff, so I got to go head over
Nice.
there and do that. They're down the road in Trenton.
Awesome.
We're in a good place right now.
Oh yeah.
We can't screw it up. That's the good. That's the good and that's the bad. And I think the good news is there's so much excitement. There's so many new faces that are involved and that are excited about moving this. Our focus now needs to be to mobilize them, to get them focused on where they need to be in proactive ways. You know, screaming at Phil Murphy that you've been elected for 3 days, we don't have it legal. Yeah, well, understand, that's not going to happen for a little bit. Medicinal expansion is going to happen and continue to happen. There's a way to effectuate that, and it doesn't necessarily need the legislative process. And I think our ability to stay focused on the legislative process towards legalization for adult use is going to benefit everyone, and that needs to be. And there are going to be a lot of actors out there. You've got drug treatment. You've got others that are going to be out there that are going to be fooling around on this, and we got to make sure that we stay focused.
Yes. Well, thank you, Bill Caruso.
Even if Mickey and Michael think otherwise, but I don't think they do. I think they're on board with this.
They look like they're on board.
They're on board. They're supporters of this.
Thumbs up.
Congrats on a great win, you two. Well done this year. You've outdone yourselves.
Who do they work for?
Those two gentlemen, if I can introduce them, they are the brains and the brawn behind the Democratic legislative races this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, two just tremendous gentlemen that are involved in the campaign and legislative process. But Michael Mueller, in particular, has been the guru behind the state legislative races for decades now. And he, by the way, during the Christie administration, was one of the only architects of the sort of campaign structure that was able to gain seats on the Democratic side in the off years when we were here under Christie, and it was a dark day around the nation. He was building majorities here when other places were losing them.
Now you're nonpartisan because I know you support Republicans and Democrats.
I worked as the executive director to the Democratic speaker, two Democratic speakers. I've worked on the Democratic side of the aisle for most of my career, all my career, but I have great rapport on the Republican side. So today, I'm a lobbyist. I'm a lawyer. I work for a firm, a nonpartisan law firm. So I lean on the Democratic side. That's because just where I work from. But I've got a phenomenal rapport. Guys like Declan O'Scanlan, who's a champion where we are. Michael Patrick Carroll. I have the respect of a lot of folks across the aisle because I like to think I came up right in this business. You can get together and have discussions on policy, or you can sit and pull pins off of grenades and chuck them at each other. I like sitting down and talking policy. I don't like throwing bombs at people.
That's where we differ.
Everybody's got their own thing, brother. Well, good. Listen, I'm going to jet.
Thank you so much,
I'll
Bill
see you,
Caruso.
man.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Thank you. Bill Caruso, ladies and gentlemen.
Here all night.
Future governor.
No.
Future something.
Never elected.
Future senator, assembly person, something. We need you in office. But do what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing.
I'm going to stay where I am.
Hi, Grizzy.
Hi, Lefty.
What's going on, buddy?
Just chilling like a villain. How's the zombie fight?
We're going to keep that under wraps. We're not going to talk about that. Well, we can
Okay.
talk about it, but we can't show those pictures to anyone.
Okay.
We're going to make the coolest book that people are going to want to be like, I want to see this book. I want to see this book we're making.
This is amazing.
It's amazing. You're talking all this cool stuff. I'm like, you can't see it. You got to wait.
Absolutely.
And you're going to pay for it.
I know that's right.
We want paid. We want to get paid. Enough free stuff.
I could also see this becoming like a fighting game.
Dude,
like, or
a
a
movie.
video game in the future, something like that as well. Not just a movie, but...
Do we have a cast of characters yet now?
Oh, yes. We have all of them.
Okay, we got Weed Man.
1,
All right, we got Trip.
2...
We got, do we have Jason Arnold?
Now, actually, let me name all the characters
Yeah. Grizzy.
that I want. So far, it's me, Peter
Okay.
Darker, Jason, Billy, Ghost, Barack Oganja. That's 5. That's the whole Joint Boy squad.
Trip Eisen.
And then we also have Ariel, Karen, who else?
Joanne.
Joanne, Ed, of course, Phil, and then 2 other people. I forgot who the last 2 people were.
Okay.
Oh, L. You remember L from the joint?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to add him on there too.
All right,
and
so
then 1 other person.
All zombie fighters. And you'll be killing
Yeah.
people with your skateboard. I like that. That's a new
Well,
one.
it's not actually a skateboard. It's actually a sonic waveboard. And I transform it into a retro-suburban anti-gravity concrete grizzray.
Wait, what?
A retro-suburban anti-gravity grizzray. Retro-suburban anti-gravity concrete grizzray.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I'm down.
This is going to be fun.
It's going to be a good one.
Only thing is, I changed the format of how I'm going to do the comic. Like
Okay.
the board you gave me, I can still use that. That's awesome and everything.
Yeah, what
but
do you
the-
think about that board?
I like it, but I'm not used to drawing them big.
You want to
so
do you want to do
it's just
landscape?
like,
Okay.
Yeah, it's like just like a regular chapter book format size, and like I'll just do it that way because it's way more simplistic, and I could just give you. I'll have the very first prologue for you next Thursday. I got the characters down. I already got the story. You know, the year is 2057. We're all. You want to take place in this city, right?
It
Trenton.
could be Trenton, could be
I think that
Bayonne.
would be a good idea because we start from Trenton and then advance over to
All right.
higher standards or whatever. But yeah, start in Trenton. It's in Trenton. The first part, what happens in the beginning is, we're all in the city. It's a bunch of zombies coming at us. And you have to use your lightning powers to put one of them in a state of shock travel through the city, and then you know I get on, I do my thing. I lead the rest of the apostles through while you know the rest of the zombies or whatever.
Come on over, Ken. Yeah, come on over. Grab a seat.
It continues on
Whatever
from
you're
there.
ready. This is gonna be a great book.
Yeah, that's the. It's going to be a great book. Does it not?
It is already, but it's just in our
It's-
minds right
yeah,
now. So it's going to be realized.
It's going to be fun.
Hello,
Extremely
Ken
fun.
Wolski. Good morning.
I also have
Good afternoon.
pictures I can
morning.
show only you.
Or afternoon.
You only.
Oh, you did some drawings.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Lefty, Magical Butter did come through with a donation for Thanksgiving. Now, do you get the money? Shall I write a check to you? I had written one before to Jim. I'd be willing to do either one. And we're
Okay.
just very grateful for the donation from Magical
me.
Butter.
How do you check out the Facebook donations? Because I had like 60 or 70 bucks from Facebook donations. How do you check that?
Well, where did they go to?
A CMMNJ, the Coalition for Medical Marijuana, but on Facebook. You have a page on Facebook that accepts donations.
Yes.
So that there's money there, like 70 bucks or 60 bucks. That was just donated.
Okay, I haven't seen that. We got a check recently from Network for Good.
Saw that.
So that was very nice, but that was a little while ago. And none of those were particularly targeted for the Thanksgiving thing. So
Yeah,
this is something that has to be targeted
Yes.
for the
In
Thanksgiving.
the last 2 weeks, you got some donations
Yeah,
for that.
okay.
So check Facebook.
Yeah. Okay.
Money coming in. Show up, Grizzly.
And so the question
Okay.
was, do you get a check or does
That's a good question.
Lefty, do you want to deal with buying the?
We need to talk to Jim and find out how we're going to buy this stuff. From Burrini's, we're going to buy some stuff. We'll buy some.
from Wayne's,
Should we go out and buy canned goods? I mean, can we?
Yeah.
I've never done this before. This is all new to me. I'm just trying to. Yeah. What do they do? You've given away food before, right? You've
Yeah.
Seen, what do they do? They go buy canned goods, or they just collect canned goods, or
I
both?
believe they do both. Yeah.
Both, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we could do that.
So, and what are you with now? I'm sorry.
Let's go shopping.
Say again.
You're with an organization?
Yeah. I'm a sole proprietor of my own publishing company, Grizzman and Your Hard Work Entertainment. I'm a graphic novelist / artist. I make music as well, you know. So that's where the artist part comes from.
Yeah.
Besides graphic novelist, you know. But yeah, that's what I do. My name is Grizzy Peter Darker Ray. That's the full name, but you could just call me Grizzy or
Grizzy.
Grizz.
I met him at the joint.
Oh, great.
He did caricatures of everybody.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He was the joint artist. You and Joanne were the two joint artists.
Yes, we
Or one
were.
of the two main ones, at least.
Yeah, that was so sad. I drove by the joint and all her artwork was off the windows now and everything. So
Yeah, that really sucks.
that really hurt just to see that. She put so much effort into that.
Yeah, she
and
did.
It's
Yeah.
it's all gone now. So
Tarnished.
yeah. Any word on Ed Fortune yet?
No, I'm going over there at 2 o'clock. We're going to shut down at 2, and I'm going to head right over there. Hopefully there'll be an answer today. I was there this morning. I got assaulted yesterday in the courtroom.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So I won't
What?
talk about that.
What
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah. Ed's old lawyer assaulted me in court
Why? Why would he do
because I
that?
took a picture of him, which I was allowed to. I'm allowed to take pictures. I had permission, written permission from the judge to take pictures. The parameters said I could not take pictures of the jury, the prosecutor, the bailiffs, the judge. I said, okay. They didn't address selfies, and it didn't address Wayne Burrini, my friend who I wanted to take a picture of. And the lawyer, Ed's lawyer, was in that film, that picture, and he didn't like it. And he attacked me,
Wow, that really sucks.
physically attacked me.
Yeah, that's a shame. That,
Crazy.
Whoa.
Crazy stuff going on over there.
There was such a deterioration in the the status of the client legal status.
What's he
lawyer.
trying to do? It seems like he's trying to cause trouble, Ed, this guy, because like, what would your purpose be to do something like that, to attack me?
How did he attack you?
I can't answer that.
He went after my camera, and when he went after my camera, he hit my hand, and this is my arm that has stenosis in. I go to physical therapy for this arm, so he hit my bad arm. So it was not a good thing for him to do that. So now I'm pressing charges against him.
You are pressing
sucks.
charges.
Oh, absolutely, I'm
I
pressing
mean, if
charges.
you think that's bad,
Have you
try walking in the street holding a skateboard on your way to the laundromat early in the morning and getting stopped
For what?
for being black. That's the only
By the police?
explanation I could come up with. Discrimination and entrapment.
Yeah, what town was that?
Improper memorandum.
Ewing, right?
Yes.
I saw that street.
I
saw
grew up
that.
on.
That
Yeah.
street is all dirt. The sidewalk is all dirt. You can't ride on the sidewalk there. You
But
have
there
to
was
ride
a
it.
sidewalk where I was at.
I saw
but
that.
why would I walk on the sidewalk when I have a skateboard in my hand? That makes no sense whatsoever.
So what'd the cop do to you?
He stopped me. He said, "Are you from around here?" I said, "Yeah, I'm from around here." He said, "Well, let me see your ID."
Wait,
I'm like, "For what?" He's like, "Cause you're under." I was like, "Am I being detained?" He said, "Yeah."
For
I was
what?
like, "For what?" Because you're under a summons for not using the sidewalk. I was like, "Okay." I proceed to
this is what black
start
people go
walking
through, Ken.
towards the sidewalk,
Are you
and then he
shitting
grabs
me?
my arm and he says, "Give me your ID." And I'm like, "Okay. Can you let go of my arm so I can give it to you?" He's like, "Where's your ID?" I'm like, it's in my pocket. Can you let go of my hand?" I said this like 3 or 4 times. I have my skateboard in my right hand. He's holding my other hand. He's telling me to give him my ID. How am I supposed to give you my ID if I got both my hands occupied? You know what I'm
Game they
saying? So
play.
then,
That's how they play.
he finally lets go of my hand. I give him my ID. He's like, "Well, if you just would have listened, you wouldn't be in this situation. Y'all could have just gave you the summons and you'd have been on your way." Who wants to? Who's gonna be fine with someone with a gun and a stick attached to their waist walking up
If
to
you
you
weren't
telling
racist, we wouldn't be in this position.
telling you that you have to give them money for not using the sidewalk?
Yeah.
Who's
Give me
gonna
some
be
money.
okay with that?
Give me
You know?
some money now, son.
Exactly. Like, and then
Give me a boy. You didn't use the sidewalk properly, boy. Come here. Let me give some money. Give me some money. Yeah.
Then
Open
this
up your
guy-
pockets, boy. Give me some money. That's what it's like.
this guy takes my ID and he starts looking at it or whatever, and then while I'm talking to him, he's like, "Get your hands out of your pocket. Get your hands out of your pocket. Get your hands out of your pocket. Get your hands out of your pocket." Says it 3 times and then snatches my hand out of my pocket. Then he grabs my other arm. He has my arms like this in the air. He's holding both of them. Clearly, I have no weapons on me because you don't see anything in my pants. You know what I'm saying? All I have is a book bag and a skateboard. He has a gun and a stick attached to his waist. And he says, "Why are you tensing up on me?" I'm like, "I'm not tensing up on you. You tensing up on me."
Why are you nervous? Why are you nervous, boy?
Because you have a gun and a stick attached to your waist. I have a book bag and a skateboard. After that, he snatches me up, stands me on the ground, puts me in handcuffs, and he says, "You're under arrest for
Keep calm.
You're under arrest for obstruction and not using the
resisting.
sidewalk."
Stop resisting. Keep calm.
What kind of ish is that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You
to
don't
hear
walk up
that.
to me and tell me I have to give you money. now for
Where's the
that.
police report? I want to see this
The
police
police report?
Nothing.
They didn't even give me a copy of it. I
You have
still
to
have.
you have to go down there and get it. It
Yeah.
might cost you 50 cents maybe or something. Who knows? Let's go down there.
Okay.
We have to go get that police report because that's going to be a huge thing, like 2 pages of every little detail of what happened to you.
Right.
And you're going to see all the racism that's going on right there because they're going to, oh, you're walking on the sidewalk. Oh, you're not walking on the street. Oh. What? That doesn't happen to white people.
Exactly.
It does
if I
not
was a
happen.
cute little white girl with a nice waist, you know what I'm
Nope.
saying? He probably would have walked up and like,
No.
"Excuse me, miss, just use that sidewalk."
Ken, has that ever happened to you?
Well,
No.
No, I mean, I'm not a skateboarder.
So we're gonna
for
label
one thing,
this
you know,
as
so-
entrapment,
Yes.
discrimination, and
Racism,
improper
civil-
memorandum right
Civil rights
procedure.
violations.
Because he did not tell me my rights until I was in the back of the car.
Oh, he did read your Miranda rights stuff?
Yeah, when I was in the back of the car. He didn't tell me that. He didn't tell me what my crime was while he was talking to me. He told me that when I was in handcuffs and I was in the back of the car.
That's really sad.
It's ridiculous.
So were you fingerprinted and did you have a mug
I was
time?
about to. He was so dumb. He had to ask his comrade that was at the police station. Do we have to fingerprint people for city ordinances?
Is that how he sounded?
Like an idiot. That's how he sounded to me.
Do we have to fingerprint
Do we have to- Do we have to take pictures and fingerprint
Yeah,
people for
that's better.
city ordinances?
That's better.
Come on, man.
It's a game they play.
Terrible.
I like good cops. I hate racist, bad, uncompassionate cops. I hate them. That's that make all the good cops look bad.
Absolutely. And you know what pisses me off even more? The people who are aware of things like this and do not say anything. Just continue to let it happen.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
See, here's a white person. She's never been stopped by a cop for walking. Yeah, me neither. I jaywalk all the time. I've never been stopped for jaywalking. But black people get pulled over for jaywalking.
Hey,
Stop.
what are you doing walking?
They get shot for jaywalking.
What are you doing being black and walking not on the sidewalk?
What are you doing being black and walking on the sidewalk?
I should come get you.
Boy.
Terrible, man. Terrible. For future reference, people, try not to be black and not walk on the sidewalk. Because if they catch you being black, not using the sidewalk, they will get you.
I'm sorry, Grace.
True story. I'm sorry too that this had to happen.
$1,000 for that fine?
They said it's up to $1,000.
Up to $1,000 for
not using the sidewalk. Terrible.
Well, we'll go there with a camera. I don't think I've been to Ewing yet, so we'll go there with a camera. We'll smoke some weed out there, and
it's on Monday. That's when the
you have a court. You have court Monday?
Yeah, for this.
So do I.
Damn.
Get a continuance. Tell me what.
I don't know. What time is do you have to go to court?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
It just changed. I think it could be in the afternoon. I don't know. I can't. I'm not gonna make it down here though.
That sucks. Really bad.
I would like to be there for that. Just get a continuance. Tell me you want a defender.
You said what?
Tell me you want a public defender.
You said get a public defender?
Tell them you want one, and you want a continuance.
All right, yeah. Good idea, because I have the proper words that I need to use.
Yeah, stall for time.
Yeah, a good person just happened to randomly approach me the other day when I was at the Midhill Park, thinking about this, like, damn, how am I going to get myself out of the situation? But God is always working, you know what I'm saying? So this person, I'm pretty sure you know him. You know Aziz? He came up to me. He was the perfect person I needed to speak to about this. He came up to me, and I told him my situation. He gave me the words that I needed. Because when I went up to the police station to tell them this, they didn't tell me this. They told me, oh, everything that he did legally was okay. I understand where you're coming from, Mr. Peterson. But everything he did was okay. I don't believe that.
So the racism's okay.
Okay. Legally, but it's a lot more on his part that he didn't address.
You see, when I take my wheelchair there and I make a video of my wheelchair not being able to access the same sidewalk you access because of the dirt that's on that sidewalk that I've seen,
right,
they're going to have a problem because they don't have wheelchair access or skateboard access.
Right.
So there you go. You want to talk about ADA problems? All right. There you go. They got an ADA problem. That's what their problem is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's 2 inches of dirt.
You also have a discrimination problem as well.
And Grizzy, it's these petty small offenses that really begin the entry into the criminal justice system.
Right.
So if you don't pay a fine, then they come and they arrest you for not paying fines. If and it starts with stupid things. Like you're not walking on the sidewalk.
We're coming to get you because you didn't pay that fine.
Right.
I was a nurse in the New Jersey Department of Corrections for 22 years. And when I started working there in 1984, there were 9,000 inmates. And when I retired in 2006, there were 27,000 inmates. And so the inmate population tripled just in the time I was working there. And it was mostly a result of enhanced drug laws, enhanced penalties for drug laws, and enhanced enforcement of drug penalties. But I did the math on the inmates there, and I found that 86% of them were black and Hispanic. And so, to me, that was just such a shocking thing to find out that 86% of 27,000 inmates were black and Hispanic in the New Jersey prison system. That spoke about the kind of racial injustice that just permeates the system. It's not really a question of, I don't think, of individual people being racist. There's probably about 10% of racist people in all organizations, from Catholics from priests, Catholic priests to police officers to correction officers, but the real issue really is classism too. It's an institutional thing where the amount of money that you have and the color that you have really determines what kind of enforcement the criminal justice system takes on. Whether or not to arrest you in the first place, to stop you in the first place, to stop you, to arrest you, to prosecute you, and then to convict you. So it's a really thoroughgoing problem that we have in the American and especially in the New Jersey criminal justice system. And you're just like the tip of it, or at least the experience that you're relating today, I think, is really just the tip of a really
tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg that really is a thoroughgoing problem. Now, in the criminal justice system, that racism and classism, it's an institutional thing that just permeates it. Otherwise, we couldn't have wound up with 86%, black and Hispanic. Now, when we legalize marijuana, we're going to do away with 25,000 arrests. And some of the states that have legalized marijuana, they've said, well, black people are still getting arrested disproportionately.
Right.
Even though we legalized marijuana. And what do you say about that? See, it didn't solve the social justice issue, But I'll tell you one thing, it is going to go a long way towards solving it. It is going to at least stop 25,000 arrests, and if 90% of those are black and Hispanic, then we're going to stop, a significant portion of those arrests. And we are going to contribute to issues of social justice by reforming marijuana laws. So I really appreciate hearing your story. It's very enlightening, that this is the kind of thing. It's like a pot bust, boy, and then if you have, the tiniest amount of marijuana on you when you're taken down for skateboarding without a license, that now you're really in. Now you're facing 6 months in jail and $1,000 fine. And
for skateboarding.
Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So it's just a real shame, and we really have to address this as a community. That what we're doing is wrong, and we have to stop focusing on punishing people for being poor. That I think that's really at the root of it. Well, that and inner cities. Just like the school zone law, for example. There are enhanced penalties for having marijuana within 1,000 feet of a school zone. Well, you can't even walk in the city of Trenton without being in a school zone. There's schools all over the place. So, people in the inner cities, which are typically poorer people, which are typically minorities, they're,
That's a racist law.
Right. They don't face the same penalties.
Where's Ron Rice on that?
That people in the...
How come Ron Rice has nothing to say about that?
That's a good question. That is a good question for Ron Rice. He's the senator from Newark.
Yeah.
And he won with 90% of the vote.
Yeah.
His opponent got 10%. So they love Ron Rice in Newark, but the question is Ron Rice contributing to the same kind of problems, the institutional problems that have led to this so much obvious discrimination against minorities and poor inner city residents? So, it really is a thoroughgoing problem, and we're addressing it in a small way, but it really needs to be addressed in a bigger way. Look at the justice that people get. Weed Man has been, just forbidden to talk about things that are very important to his defense. And I've seen it time and again in court cases, where patients who are growing marijuana, for example, for their medical conditions because they can't get access to it through the program, the medical marijuana program, when they go to court, they think, oh, I'm just going to tell the jury that I was sick. I was sick with multiple sclerosis. Here's my doctor's, but they don't let them do that. The courts forbid patients to even talk about the very reason why they were growing the marijuana. The prosecutor in Somerset County, in Somerville, said in the case of John Wilson, he said, well, Your Honor, we sclerosis. What if he robbed the bank?
Wasn't Phil Murphy just elected governor of New Jersey?
Yes, he was. He's governor-elect now. He'll take office in January 16th or 17th, I believe, around that 16th to the 18th. So we have a little bit of time to wait yet before he's actually in office. 2 months, I guess. And we can expect a lot.
This is awesome.
It is, yeah.
I watched this guy in Space Jam as a kid. He did his thing in there. That's really all I really know about Phil Murray. I mean Phil Murphy, but
Phil
he seems like a pretty cool guy. And he was in Ghostbusters as well too.
No, that's Bill Murray.
Phil Murphy, he did his thing in there too. That's also why
Bill Murray supports weed, though.
That's even better because this guy was in Space Jam and Ghostbusters, and he's now the governor of New Jersey.
No.
Yeah.
Now nobody can say nothing about Jersey now because we got Phil Murphy on our side. Who you gonna call?
Phil Murphy.
Phil Murphy. And he's gonna bust some ghosts for us.
No, but we can certainly anticipate legalized marijuana if he's honest, and we have every reason to believe he's honest
believe
about wanting to get marijuana legalized.
That guy played
get a
basketball
bill,
with Bugs Bunny.
get a bill
Believe
on his desk and signed within 100 days of his administration, which would put us about maybe they'll do it on April 20th. That would be close to 100 days.
Yeah, if you can
May.
ball with the Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan at the same time in a cinematic film, I'm pretty sure you could do anything.
Oh, Grizzy. Grizzy, you're the best, man.
I want to thank you.
And of course, he's going to be. I think we're going to have a lot coming on. He doesn't have that kind of knee-jerk reaction against or fearful of marijuana therapy. So we're looking to expand marijuana reform, make it more available for patients. Legalized marijuana will make it like you can go in a store and buy it like you buy aspirin. So that's kind of what we're looking for.
So Phil Murphy's going to sign Scutari's bill or Michael Patrick Carroll's bill?
Well, we don't know exactly what the details of the bill are going to be. I think Scutari's bill probably has more support in the legislature than Assemblyman Carroll's bill.
Why is that?
Well, Scutari's more of a mainstream. He's mainstream. He represents more of the middle class. I mean, not middle class, but middle ground. Moderate approach to a question that is very controversial. I mean, we have to overcome decades of government misinformation and demonization of marijuana.
Lies.
So people are afraid of it. I mean, this really was a taboo subject for up until very recently among the majority of Americans. So, Senator Scutari's bill is much more tightly regulated than Assemblyman Carroll's bill. And I think that it's going to appeal to more of the Democrats and Republicans in both the Assembly and in the Senate in New Jersey than Assemblyman Carroll. Assemblyman Carroll, I have a lot of respect and admiration for him, but he's more of a libertarian Republican. And, he doesn't, I think, represent the mainstream of the Republicans. So, we're very glad for his support. We think I think it's a wonderful bill myself, but I think that really Scutari's bill has a better chance of getting through, in a timely manner without delays. And, we can work on it and we can improve it, especially with a supportive administration that we're going to have, too. So, that's why I think we're looking at S3195. We haven't really seen what the final version of that's going to be, and it's probably may not be available really until the next administration. Senator Scutari has already held informational hearings in the Senate Judiciary Committee on his version of the bill, and we had our chance to comment on it then. And so he took all of our comments, and hopefully he'll take some of those comments into consideration when he drafts the final version of that bill.
Denise Stark wants telemedicine. New Jersey doesn't accept telemedicine.
Well, New Jersey does accept telemedicine because I started a telemedicine program in the New Jersey Department of Corrections. You mean it doesn't accept telemedicine in the medicinal marijuana program?
Yes.
Yeah, so... right. It does require that there is right now the medicinal marijuana program in New Jersey requires that a New Jersey physician who has an office in New Jersey has to, make these recommendations for patients. It would be good to have telemedicine. As a matter of fact, I was approached by some people in Michigan who had a bunch of Michigan doctors who were also licensed in New Jersey, and they said, well, why can't our doctors, review these medical records and see these patients via telemedicine and provide recommendations for them? And I said, well, it sounds good to me. New Jersey does accept telemedicine, and maybe that's going to be okay. But in the final analysis, it wasn't okay because, it was just one of the, again, tight regulations. And it's unfortunate that it has to be a New Jersey doctor because a lot of people in New Jersey seek medical attention in New York and Philadelphia. We have access to some of the finest hospitals in the world, just across the river, in, one of two rivers. So, a lot of people take advantage of that and go to New York and Pennsylvania for their medical treatment. And it's so unfortunate that these doctors who may very well support the use of medical marijuana for their patients who have serious medical conditions, nevertheless are not able to officially recommend it in New Jersey. So there are a lot of things that really can be done. I'd like to get nurse practitioners available to recommend marijuana. Nurse practitioners right now can prescribe controlled substances. Why not? Why not let them recommend marijuana?
Denise wrote a great article here. Real quick, it says, Democratic Party candidate Phil Murphy has won the state position of governor starting January 16th. He promises that within 100 days of his installment, he will legalize cannabis in the state of New Jersey. I'm holding him to his promise, and he will continue writing about it until that promise is fulfilled. As an over 30 years activist and caregiver, I have seen many changes in the industry surrounding this plant and all the miracle wonders. The 60s kids are now all grown up and are politicians. It seems they all want this except for those involved with the money aspect of the business. From Bush to Obama, they have all smoked pot and are now finding the legalization of the medicine will help our country tremendously. Trump's mafia-centered cousin, Governor Christie, wow.
I think that's kind of harsh.
That's allegedly, or whatever.
Was there an allegedly put in there?
Yeah, let's put an allegedly in there.
Yeah,
that's shocking.
I think that's uncalled for.
Yeah, we can't go there. Trump's cousin, Governor. Are they cousins? They're not even cousins. All right, wait a minute. This is fake news. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, fake news.
Trump's cousin, forget it. Governor Christie, who has an addictive to hard drugs brother.
Addictive donut problem.
Oh wait, does Governor Christie have a drug addict brother? I think he does.
Yeah.
I did think that. Yeah. Okay. He never wanted cannabis to be legal. That's true. He called it beyond stupidity to legalize it. Obviously, Christie has never smoked a J in his life. I don't know about that. I heard he may have smoked a J in college.
Yeah, I
heard
the same thing, but.
And he didn't like it.
Yeah.
Just like Mike Savage, he didn't like it, and now he's against it.
Yeah, it didn't take.
Murphy will be. He didn't get indoctrinated. Murphy will be revising the bill once more before presenting it to a hearing to present to voters. But with the national polls of over 65% wanting it legal, the bill will pass in New Jersey with flying colors. The revision will exclude personal growing of the plant in homes, as other states have allowed. And perhaps this is why the bill was shut down before. Christie didn't want the personal sale of the plant without his fat fingers on the green. What is this? All right.
Yeah,
Murphy wants to give the projected income of $300 million to the education programs and the public workers' pension. So, Governor Murphy, you have until April 16th to fulfill your promise. And again, I'm holding you to that promise. So, Denise Stark, not a fan of Governor Christie. We get it. You don't like him. We don't like him either.
Well, let's see. I think her date is wrong. If he takes office in January of 2018, if he takes office January 18th, let's say, then it would be February, March, and April 18th would only be 90 days or so. Yeah. So wouldn't quite be 100.
Oh yeah.
I'm willing to give him all through May, quite frankly.
I'm not.
At least until the.
I don't.
At least until the recess, the summer recess.
What are you doing, Chris? This is not the Shock Jock Show.
The what?
The Shock Jock Show.
I'm just playing with my voice.
I know.
Just a little bit.
So that was Denise Stark's article. She writes for Politician Reviews online here, politicianreviews.com. And she loves legal cannabis in New Jersey. So do we all. Philip Dumais here. Hello, Philip. How are you, sir?
Do I.
Oh, you going for one of those walks, huh?
Stay warm, buddy. Stay warm.
One of those walks. Uh-huh. It's going to heat your lungs up.
I kind of feel like rapping.
I do want to stop the show early today because I want to go to Ed Fortune's court at some point. So I'm going to make a quick call here to a couple of people. Tony Liberty wants to weigh in and congratulate New Jersey for getting on board with cannabis. It's about time, right? Let's call Tony. He's waiting for us to call. Miss Tony. He was here
Me
all
too.
year.
I haven't seen him in a minute.
So where is he? Out in Colorado?
Cali?
Good afternoon.
California.
You were on the air.
Hey, Tony.
I'm on the air.
Hi, Tony.
I like the way you do.
What's going on, buddy? How are
Hey,
you?
Tony.
Phil Dumais? Phil Dumais just sat down too?
No, he walked away to go smoke some cannabis.
Oh, he ran away to smoke some cannabis. Oh, that must be nice.
Hi,
You guys
Tony.
celebrating over there? Michael Alonso victory, Phil Murphy victory?
Amazing.
Hey, Tony.
It is amazing. Hey, yo.
You know who this is?
Grizzly Grizz. When's the album come out?
It's already out. Go to grizzmania.com, homie. You never know till you try it.
Can I order it? You going to send me an autographed copy?
Tony, the best things in life are free, man. Just go to the website. I don't want your money.
The best things in life are free.
The best things in life are free.
Cannabis is free until they mess with it. Really, cannabis is free. When it comes out of the ground, it's free. Weed is free when it comes out of the ground.
It grows.
And then people get it.
By the grace of God, it grows.
Yeah, God put it there. And then people get it and they charge you for it. I don't like that crap.
I feel bad. I'm out here in California with all this good herb, and it's cheap, and you guys are still fighting the struggle over there. You guys are fighting the struggle. I love it, though. I love that you guys are fighting.
Did you wake up in a big pot field this morning?
What was that? I didn't hear that.
Do you sleep in a big pot field at night?
Pot field.
No, but I literally have different bowls of high-quality cannabis within one reach of my pillow all the time.
Oh, my goodness. You'll have to share some of this with me, Mr. Tony. Oh.
Tony, you're killing us.
Oh, man.
I know. That's on purpose. You guys are having a good day, though. What's up? Is Ed Fortune going to get a not guilty verdict today or what?
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. He'll be out soon.
Well, we hope so. We hope so.
I can't.
He's getting out.
Yeah, I'm
no
like
case.
pacing the house out here.
There's no case.
I'm pacing the house out here smoking really good cannabis, waiting to hear the story. I feel horrible. He's all locked up. He hasn't had weed in 8 months or something.
Yeah. Hey, that weed word, stop using that around us. We don't have any right now.
You know what bothers me too is that while the jury's in deliberation and they make Ed sit in a private room, it amounts to solitary confinement. You know, it's very stressful not to have people to talk to and interact with, and he has to sit there for hours and days at a time. He was 5.5 hours. He was the first day they were deliberating, and then today's deliberation it looks like it's going on all day too, and he has to sit there and not talk to anybody. It's painful. Painful thing they're doing to him.
Unconvicted, he sits in solitary.
Unconvicted.
And he couldn't vote either. He couldn't vote yesterday, and he's not convicted.
Couldn't vote? Huh. That's terrible.
And that's even worse. He's there. He is unconvicted in New Jersey in solitary confinement and couldn't vote. And I actually was able to vote all the way from here in California.
How about that?
And you know what? And what does it come down to? I didn't do anything different than Ed did, except my skin color is different. So I get to leave and go to California, and he gets locked up in a cage.
That really sucks.
That's the drug war.
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier, Tony, about the racial disparities in the entire criminal justice system, and how, you know, when we legalize marijuana, we're not going to do away with all the racial disparities, but we're certainly going to make a significant dent in them.
To be honest, really though, is it really racism or is it a flawed judicial system? Which one?
Well, yeah, it's both. Yeah, both.
It's both, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
And you've got the new legislation on the East Coast coming in with no home grow. That is still going to continue that racial disparity, and you're going to have all these business owners that are going to be making $1 million, and they're going to be all white owned because you have to have so much money and X number of dollars and pull and permits and whatnot that the African American community isn't going to get.
Yeah, we're not
so
conceding.
The fight is long off yet.
We're not conceding that point yet, Tony. You know, we're certainly trying to make some type of affirmative action available for inner city residents to get involved in the industry here, the burgeoning legal marijuana industry. So, you know, a lot of people are very sensitive to that issue, and we hope that there's going to be some very positive action taken here in New Jersey about giving minorities and inner city residents a leg up in this industry.
Well, and the great thing, I think, especially with Trenton being a small city, is you've got New Jersey is poised to be set the standard for the East Coast in legalization. So,
right.
You know, that's an excellent thing, but it also puts the pressure on, because if they come up with some, 2-bit program and then it's not helping the inner cities, then the rest of the East Coast is going to follow suit probably. So, I think there is a a huge precedent that needs to be set here by New Jersey, and I believe they will. I think it'll be done right. I have hope in Phil Murphy and those guys.
Yeah, he does say the right things about justice. The reason why he wants to legalize cannabis is for justice, mostly.
Right. And you know, our criminal justice system has a lot of problems, and of course it's it's easy to call racism because there was a disproportionate impact. But I think one of the bigger issues that you have to deal with is classism. You know, a rich guy like O.J. Simpson can get off the same as a rich white guy. So it really discriminates against people who are poor. I think that.
Poor. You're right. You're right.
This was pointed out to me by an inmate when I was working at New Jersey State Prison at Trenton. He said, you just don't see poor people here in this institution. You just don't see rich people here in this institution. So it's all poor. It's classist. If you can pay for good lawyers, and you can get off of you can get away with murder.
Yeah. Cops get away with murder too.
Didn't the president say that?
Yeah,
our president.
Trump said that. He said I could kill someone in Times Square.
He could go out and shoot someone in Fifth Avenue, and it would be fine.
They'd still vote for me.
Yeah.
Hi, Tony. It's Dan.
That's the kind of political climate that you're dealing with at the federal level.
Yeah.
It's your dirty Dan.
I've been sending my letters nonstop, though. I felt bad that I abandoned New Jersey, so I've been trying to send a letter a day to all the Senator Sweeney and Gusiora. I've been sending to everybody. The Commissioner Bennett has gotten several.
Oh, good for you, Tony. Now
I figure I would keep participating at least.
Yeah. Now they legalized marijuana in California, but I understand it's not available in stores to go in and buy, a 6-pack of joints or whatever.
Hey, Tony,
not yet. There's the recreational isn't active yet.
Hey,
but we do. I have my California medical card now, so I can get delivery or go into the dispensaries. And
good.
The quality is just so much better. The prices are so much better.
Really,
I've got myself completely off all pharmaceuticals again.
Oh, excellent, Tony. The quality of the medicinal marijuana in California is superior to the quality of the medicinal marijuana in New Jersey, in your opinion?
Far superior.
How about that?
Like the generic house brands that are like $12 an eighth are about what the common New Jersey dispensary can.
Oh, that's hurtful, Tony. Hurtful.
Yeah.
Tony, you gotta get me out there, man.
I don't mean to be hurtful.
Yes,
I'm
do.
I'm reporting as I see it.
That's hurtful.
I am in Sonoma County, so we're right in the center of wine country and cannabis country here.
Tony, you gotta get me out there, man. What part of Cali are you in? Well,
Sonoma.
where are you at again?
Sonoma County, north of San Francisco.
The Golden Triangle.
Yep.
Okay.
Napa, Sonoma,
Yeah, right in the
Mendocino.
triangle.
Yeah.
Wait, say it one more time.
I just got
Sonoma.
I just got some light Sonoma. I just got this light deprived purple Urkel that was grown on the Mendocino Mendocino coast.
Why?
And it's incredible. It's
Why, Tony?
They light deprive it for the last 2 weeks, so it turns an indica into like a more sativa buzz. So it's relaxing and pain killing, but it doesn't make you couch locked. So you can make art all day. Oh, it's delicious. I love every minute of it. Lefty, you guys got to come out and check it out.
I'm going to try and make my way up there one day, Mr. Tony. I'm going to try.
Mr. Tony. Mr. Tony told you so.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, yo.
Well, they miss you here, Tony.
Yeah,
I miss everybody, man. I watch every chance I get. I've been paying attention to Ed's trial as much as I can, too.
Hi, Tony. It's
Slowly
Dan.
trying to build my glass studio and whatnot.
Yeah, it's been nuts over there.
But
Wayne got carded, and he didn't have his
I
card.
believe it.
Yeah, Wayne had no card, and he's smoking weed out there, and they gave him a hard time. So I saw the cop this morning.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, well, I saw the cop this morning. He's like, hey, where's your buddy? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, tell your buddy he didn't text me the card. I'm like, I'm going to tell him. Don't worry. I'll tell him. I said, Wayne's not going to call this guy. Wayne doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's waiting for you to make a move. He wants you to make a move now. So whatever.
Make a move, everybody.
Whatever.
Are you gonna file assault charges on Hayburn?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. You don't assault me.
Excellent.
Nobody assaults me and gets away with it.
No, not in the court of law. That's not right.
Right in Judge Massey's court. That's disrespectful. He should be sanctioned.
It is.
And he should be disbarred for attacking me in the court.
If I would have attacked Hayburn in the court, you know damn well I'd be in jail today. But he gets away with it.
Denise Stark is talking about Durban poison. Durban poison has THCV. It's a special strain that actually suppresses your appetite, and it's good for diabetes. It's one of those strains that's...
Oh, that's important.
Yeah, it's an anomaly.
THCV.
Yeah.
THCV, they say, is the one that helps the diabetics.
Voratamine, yes.
Yeah, the V. Yeah, that's the one.
So, yeah, that's good for
important.
diabetes. It was Judge Massey, Judge Massey's court.
And Michael Alonso won Assemblyman, 31st District, Hudson County, I see.
No, he didn't win Assembly. He won school board.
Oh, he won school board?
He's a sly guy. He ran for 2 offices.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, he
didn't win the Assemblyman seat. He won school board. So he's on the school board. Yeah, he ran for 2. I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought he defeated Angela McKnight.
Oh, no.
Oh, I got so excited.
So did I.
I'm still excited. I'm still excited for him, but I thought he won the assembly. I didn't realize that he got I didn't realize he was running for 2 offices.
Yep,
That's huge, though. He's an elected official.
Yes, and I was against it at first when he said, I'm going to run for 2 offices. I'm like, oh, you going to expect people to vote for you twice? Well, they did. They sure did.
They did? That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep, so our cannabis candidate is in office.
Cannabis candidate is in school board. That's good, though. He can affect some change in the schools, and that's important.
And they need it. Our schools are screwed.
Well, yeah, and it's a resume builder for him, too, which is excellent. He can run for, when he runs for assemblyman next year, he'll already have a resume.
That's right.
What else? I haven't talked to you guys in forever. I'm trying to cover every item that I have. I don't have my bullet points.
There's a lot of stuff going on, man.
Yeah, I'm umming on live. That's awful for me. What else is there? Oh, did you get my donation for Trenton Turkey Day?
How did you send that?
I don't know, through Facebook or something.
Okay, I just told Ken about that. I told Ken there's about $60 on Facebook waiting for them. So maybe you should tell Ken.
Yeah, there's a. Oh yeah, I did go to Coalition. I think it did. It was. I forget. It was $72 or $52.
Okay. Yeah. So there's money on Facebook for the Coalition, for Thanksgiving. Tony sent some, and so yeah, we'll find it somewhere.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, it got sent through Facebook. Yeah, no problem. I can't be there, so I figured I got to do something at least.
Tony, Jim Miller here.
Hey, Jim Miller, how are you today?
I'm doing good. It's been a great day.
Congratulations. Congratulations on hosting the most successful political podcast in American history.
Oh, yeah, man.
I'll take that.
That's us.
I like that.
That's us, yeah. See, I don't see any argument.
You guys all deserve a big fat pat on the back for that.
Yeah, well...
When I write the Wikipedia page, that's how I'm going to title it.
The design and end goal, I think, was simple, that by being here, and after the first month with Jenny, and then it went on, and oh no, the second year in a podcast, and a third year, and a 4th year, and a 100th podcast coming up on Thanksgiving, the view from the state police and people passing by these 4 years are, nobody's ever done this, their issue must be really important to them. That's it. I mean, they don't even have to speak the same language we do. They don't have to even know what we're about. It's the tenacity. And, it just got easy for us here this last year when we realized that when we tried to do any segmenting and run an organized, now what are we going to do? It's 12:15. Well, at 12:20, somebody's called. The wheels fell off because of that. When we gave up and just started showing up with what was new for the week, and Ken was our news guy coming by and always offering what's new for the week, we became better for doing less prep work.
Like today, a guy just walked up off the street and started talking to me. I opened the show with it because he started talking to me. I'm like, okay, here's a mic.
Where do you
go.
get that? Yeah, we've been showing bullets and gash wounds by people passing by, and anyway, it's going to be kind of exciting on Thanksgiving to say thank you, Trenton, putting up with our loud, sometimes not the kind of music you would choose, for all the classes that had to pass by us and cause consternation, even though we're the good guys and all this stuff. It's just a nice thank you, Trenton. You know, you come by, break bread with us. We do have a permit, and there's going to be absolutely nobody here because the building's going to be locked down.
Mm-hmm. So we could smoke bong rips right here.
Yeah, so
We're patients.
so
we got to. Sure we can.
the government folks can't give you no grief. I'll be interested to see if anybody has anything to say about feeding the homeless. You know how that's dangerous in this country these days.
Yeah, you know, it's we had a free complimentary food. I had it then change the sign to say free because I don't think people knew what complimentary meant. Come over and eat with us. But at the end of the year before, 2 years ago, and Wayne Burrini's Old World Market took part, would have it. Wayne Burrini is off on Thanksgiving. He didn't get to come to the podcast because he had to work every Thursday. So he gets to help us go out with a bang and help feed people in parts of Trenton where they will not go to where you get the free turkey dinners. So the optics are going to be good, you know, as well. You never know. We had no coverage at all from Jen Heffler, and she's a big fan. And she explained, well, it's not her deal. It's like, you know, her boss. They don't like to cover what they call ongoing events, you know. And this is no longer going to be ongoing. It's going to be a one of a kind on Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye.
You know, all that. 100th podcast, that's a one of a kind thing. And that it'd be nice just to mention that anybody in the area that wants to come by, you know, actually it'll be between like 11:30 and 1, a good eating time, a little later than that even.
Free weed? Oh, free the weed.
No, free the weed.
Oh, okay. Free food.
Free the weed.
Free the food.
And free food.
Free the food, free weed.
And we will be assuming anybody that is consuming cannabis is a patient. We don't card.
I don't card.
No.
No.
Well, nobody here does either.
I don't card.
Ever. Almost ever. One time Trenton Police last year before.
Yeah, Trenton Police did.
Yeah. But that was when we were across the street. Now we're on state property.
Yeah.
It's not their concern. And, you know.
Are you going to play badminton on Thanksgiving?
Only if we have people holding up the badminton thing, because we will not be putting in any stakes.
No.
No stakes.
No stakes.
Tony.
That's Grizzly Ray's job.
Tony, who's the bigger douche, Chris Christie or Donald Trump?
You are.
It's funny how many calls have ended in less than 5 seconds after the option's delivered.
Mike Murray's here. Dude, are you here from Delaware? Really?
Yeah, man. Came
oh
up. Finally had a day off. You know, wanted to show some support for the weed, man.
Yeah, dude.
Come on, Ed.
We're heading right over there.
Pulling for you, buddy.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up pretty on time today.
Yeah, have you been over there yet to the courthouse?
Yeah, I stopped over there for a little bit. I actually went in the wrong building first, but I finally found the criminal courthouse.
What's going on over there? Anything now?
I don't know what the heck's going on in there, honestly.
All right. We're going to head over there in a minute.
Sounds good.
And support them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have the right to film, so I'm going to bring my camera in there.
Excellent.
I fill out all the paperwork, so yeah.
We got to document all this misjustice.
Yeah, this history. This is historic. And these people that don't want to be filmed, I can see why they don't want to be filmed, because they're on the wrong side of history.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Do you have film of somebody saying you can't film? I mean, you know, in other words, what happened to the film in contention?
The picture?
Yeah. No, well, yeah, the picture, the selfie.
I took it. I undeleted it.
Wow.
Yeah, I undeleted it from my. Yeah.
That's that alternative
Yeah. When you
World
delete something,
alternative facts.
when you don't delete something, when you delete something, it doesn't delete. It stays in your phone for like a week.
Yeah.
So you can always pull it back. And that's something you have to know.
Creepy.
It is creepy, but hey, I got my phone, my film
Well,
back.
it's creepy that they don't know you can do that.
I have a right to film everybody in that courtroom, except the jury, the judge, the prosecutor, and the bailiffs. Everybody else is fair game, including myself. I can take a selfie of myself, which is what I was doing.
Because you have permission to film. Nobody
Yes.
else can take a camera and
No.
take a picture of you, though.
Nope. Nope.
Nah, you got the upper hand there.
So
Yeah. Well, why didn't you take a picture of me in court?
I will. Come on, let's go.
A little time.
Let's head over. So we're going to stop the show on time today, a little before
No.
2. Yeah, we are. I'm going to give Honeyb our call, our co-host.
All right, Ed. We're coming over, man.
But what do you think, Mike? What's gonna happen?
He's gonna fuck the law and smoke it anyway.
That's right. Can he smoke weed in jail? I don't even think he can.
No. No.
No?
Not saying that people don't get away with it, but it usually doesn't end well when they do.
Oh, yeah. Go in the hole. Sticky in the hole.
Yeah. That too.
Ew. Did I just say that?
Yeah, and
Sticky in
did
the
I
hole.
not just make a joke? I mean, pat myself on the back there.
Ew. No, I meant stick you in the hole. You guys, no. I got to work on the delivery.
As I say nothing again. Yeah, well, it's I mean, they must be deliberating unless they're asking the judge to read something back or have
They
the
keep
bailiff read something back.
A lot of questions. The jury has a lot of questions because the prosecution set a very, very vague case
Yeah.
in front of them, and it's just.
I don't know. It just seems the more questions, the better the questions. If he says rely on your individual and collective memories, I'm not going to read that back, which has been the case. I just seem that bodes well, in effect, you know.
Especially the questions pertaining to this, this informant that.
Yeah. They want to know about this guy.
Yeah,
And they
everybody
can't.
wants
Yeah,
to
well,
know
you
about
know,
this
I
guy.
thought that was effective testimony, or actually opening statement.
What kind of
When
promises?
Ed referred to himself as a peaceful pothead and convicted forger and pill pusher on the other side. You know,
Yeah.
so I just thought that the way he did it, I was looking at the jury, listening to Ed. I don't got to look at Ed. I was studying the jury, and well, because I'm a patient, I had a pretty good buzz, and I was just like, oh, nose in their heads, you know. And when he said that, it got the correct reaction. It almost got a little eyebrow up, a little bit of
Eye opener.
yeah, and they weren't going to be able to debate whether or not that was true. But yeah, Mom's a peaceful pothead,
Yep.
and yeah, and then
Everybody knows one of them.
yeah, and that he did apparently get out with telling the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. That apparently he made a comment then. I wasn't in court then. Something to the effect of not allowed to tell the whole truth, and you know, stop, jury out.
Objection.
Yeah,
Objection.
right, something like that. But it's an important part. It's just something that I've always said that if I were in that position myself and somebody said, put your hand on the Bible, swear to tell the whole truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Go ahead and ask what's missing. I guess I would have to leave out the whole truth, because if I'm not allowed to tell the whole truth, John Wilson, he's on trial 7-8 years ago, he wasn't allowed to say he was an MS patient even.
Yeah.
They weren't allowed to know he had multiple sclerosis, much less anything
disgusting.
about medical marijuana.
Disgusting.
For
They only
growing
permit
it.
bogus testimonies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the thing is,
Fake
I
news.
was bringing that up, saying, is there no way? Because what you're saying is, and there's going to be somebody in the jury right there that's going to realize that maybe I don't want to put my hand on the Bible and swear to something that's not true because I don't want to go to hell. Okay, tell me that's not going to happen. I'm going to be lying with my hand on the Bible, and I'm going to be lying because that's the law that I must. No,
I don't fear God. I fear the
you,
system.
You can send me to jail. God can send me to hell. Yeah, how do you reconcile that? Schedule 1. It's medical. It's the same crap.
So what would happen at that point? The judge would just put you in contempt if you didn't answer? He said, I can't tell the truth, Your Honor. I have MS. I can't talk about it. What do I do?
That would probably be contempt. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll sit in jail for contempt. Great. Well, all right.
Well, then you got to come back and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Start back at square one.
Yeah. They want to pay for that? Yeah.
No, square one. We're actually at a square one today. No commissioner of health resigning today. The one who makes the decision on do we add these indications. I like Bill Cruz's take that the current commissioner, if she remained under the new administration, would have had 6 months, and by all indications, she would have taken every bit of the 180 days and set that clock back if she could. So to get somebody right away, acting or otherwise, we will have a new governor who will say, first of all, get that going now.
I know you guys in New Jersey are really excited about the change that you finally have coming, but I want to say, make sure you guys don't settle.
No, we never do.
Get what you deserve. Fight for your home grow.
Yeah. We are. It's gonna be the good fight for that. Thing is, when it's fighting for home grow to be written into the bill, at some point before the legislative fight begins for a specific bill, the fight for that, we got to be ready to shift gears from, if the home grow is not in that bill, it's going to be home grow for patients then. And
absolutely.
And patients have the truest and saddest stories to tell. That if this is what it takes to get them finally not to show up here, the reason we do the podcast is so they don't have to show up here. They can take part by listening, calling, and whatever. But at this point, it's going to be time to take part by just identifying as a patient and get in touch with your particular legislators and with the Department of Health, but in an organized way. And quite frankly, a man named Doug Green explained to me one time the reason we don't work more together on issues, everybody seems to be going their own different ways. It's like herding cats, and I found it insulting at the time. I've come to agree. It's like herding cats. I love our advocates, I do, and we are so different. We are not, we are a melting pot, but we are also a little more like free thinkers, people who consume cannabis. Why? Hey, you know what we could do? You get that
absolutely
aspect. So, but when you combine the two, it's like herding cats. Some will just follow, and some are like, I like this way better. But when it comes to legislation, the power comes from acting more as a team than individuals, and we're not real good at that. And when I say we, I'm including myself. I am.
Just going back to the home grow situation, I think it's more important than ever. People are dealing with stuff like myrrh and butanol in their cannabis, and they're finding these PGRs that are harmful to our bodies are being used on a high frequency.
Well, what's that?
These are different fertilizers and pesticides that are not safe for the consumption.
No, that's
in our bodies.
one thing I would hope, and I know it's not fail-safe at all with a medical law and the way it's working in New Jersey, but I can see that happening a lot less there because they have pretty strict guidelines on what they may not use.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, a lot of patients are turning to the black market because they can't afford these prices.
Exactly, which would, if they had home grow as patients, the point is constantly made that most would not be able to grow their own either by being ill-equipped with knowledge or physically being able to do it. And it just seems that people like me and many others, I would be glad to take a couple under my wing and say, I'll help you get it set up. I'll come over and check, make sure. You'll really like it because
That's what caregivers are for.
And there's something so therapeutic about a patient growing their own medicine, watching it
Absolutely.
grow. It's like magic. And to have somebody come over to, do some pH testing, some whatever else you got to do, I'd have to educate myself, but I'm quite capable of doing that when it becomes a reality. Also, it's would be good business. I mean, people who will be selling supplies for indoor growing. It'd be
It's very popular right
you
now.
have somebody set up stuff. Well, of course. I mean, you come set up my washer. You can come set up my grow thing. That's good, and then go away. Is there a follow-up service available? Well, that becomes another whole business in itself. And I'm not saying that it would happen this way, but the way it works in the real world is. You're helping somebody grow their medicine. They've got an abundant supply. It's almost like,
Yeah, they want to control the monopoly.
Well, I'm just saying, a patient may be like, "Are you allowed to accept tips?" Well, sure. Are you allowed to accept tips? Like the tip of the bud. It's my joke used to be, I don't want to work in a dispensary. I'll be the janitor. Meaning, but obviously that's just a stupid joke because, you'd have to be like FBI cleared almost to be the one to burn.
I hate when they say it's because it's a fire hazard that they don't want us to have us growing cannabis, because there's no restrictions on anybody growing anything else indoors in their home.
No,
it's the
not.
same fire risk associated with it, and it's really just a cop-out, and we all know it. It's like them saying we don't have enough information out yet.
They don't really have a lot. It's from a debate standpoint, they're starting with a losing battle, and that's why we don't often get to actually sit down at the table, like you're saying. What they would say, but they say it in sound bites somewhere else, and you hear about it. To sit down, come sit down on the show, or I would come to your show wherever they would be, if I would be invited, and to have the discussion. And weirdly enough, a couple times in the last 3 years we've been doing this, somebody has stopped by that had maybe reservations with one aspect. Honestly, I can't remember what it was, but it was a fairly valid point. It might have had to do with edibles, and it looks too much like candy or something like that. I mean, something that's sort of like, but it's yeah, that's
Child-proof containers are important for that. You gotta keep your medicine safe from infants and children.
That is controllable. I mean, it's a matter of awareness, not a matter of a reason for not doing something. It's a matter of, it's the same. People would always ask me, 20 years ago, it would piss me off. They'd say, well, where would you store Cheryl's medicine? I said, probably the same place you put your prescriptions. Where is that? On the bathroom counter, kitchen counter, perhaps, in an unlocked medicine cabinet. All right, you look like the unlocked medicine cabinet person. So basically, what do you do when your kids have friends over? Do you clear them first? I mean, you know what farm parties are. This is where kids all grab something from their parents and they put them in a bowl, and then they each take something. They don't know what it is. And it's sort of like, how dare they ask, where, I don't know that my mom noticed when we were growing up, towards the end of her bottle of vodka, she didn't get as drunk, and it's because I'm sorry, Mom.
Hey, it happens.
Rest in peace. Yeah, but it's so these things happen. No law, no regulated product is perfect at all, and some aren't really very good at all. I would say the statistic that I used to tout, and I don't know, it's probably erring on the side of caution here even, but 10% or so of pharmaceuticals are diverted. And I found, out of all the pharmaceuticals that are legally manufactured, 10%, that's a big number, even though it's not a huge percent, for diversion. And that's in a tightly regulated, yes, it's going to happen. So I would say when cannabis is legal medically, I would say this 25 years ago, I will guarantee you diversion. It will be diverted. Now, we can talk about how much and the consequences of it, because it will. And that was a great that would cut the legs out of the people I had to argue with back then. Let's start with that, because that was their go-to card, you know.
Yeah.
And when they would be like, "What about the kids?" I do remember one time pushing Cheryl in a wheelchair. We were part of a walk from Boston to Washington, and mostly she was at a motel with somebody taking care of her, and I'd push her wheelchair. But a woman stopped by in a convertible and had some laudatory things to say, and when her question was why or whatever, I said to the child, who looked about to be 13, because her mom's having this conversation right in front of her kid, so obviously we don't have to speak quietly. And I said, well, actually, it's kind of your fault. Well, not you in particular, but people like you, children. And I said, yeah, we keep hearing that, what about the kids? They wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand how this could help somebody like my wife. And she said, well, don't tell me what I would understand. That's so And I'm like laughing inside, like, where's a video camera where you want one? A kid pointing her finger at me about what she understands and doesn't, with genuine contempt at what I had said. And she got to understand, no, this is not my opinion. This is what they are saying to me. I know you understand. And it became so apparent that, you know, the last thing anybody who was, what about the children? The last thing they want to do is talk to children.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And every step of the way, starting and ending with the DARE program at that point, because, you know, dare to tell the truth. I know we were at a
Please knock on your family.
Well, we were at a function one time, and I think it might have been one of my first video cameras at the Coalition. It was at Trenton. And we had a table, and a big top lot of tables at the college. And DARE had a table. So I wanted to know if there was somebody that could talk about this on camera, and nobody would. It's the DARE table at this thing. I'm like, well, it's my video camera. Can we do? I mean, I'll give you a full copy of it. You know, I'll get this to you. And they refused, and I said, well, I find this odd that, I mean, we got a Coalition table. You can come down there and talk to us and film us and everything. I just wanted to talk about your stance on cannabis and some of the things I'm hearing. And they refused to do it. It was just so much fun being the bully then, you know. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, the modern day Henry Anzinglers.
Yeah, well.
They don't want to be on the wrong side of history. They don't want to,
You know,
think they're right with it. They don't want to be documented.
I tried to let my congressman, chief of staff some years back, know what the score was when I told him that we can talk about this, but if I say you're lying about something that we had a conversation about, if I make an accusation and you say it's not true and I say it is, it doesn't matter if I'm lying. Everybody's going to believe me because you are a congressman's chief of staff. You're like under used car salesman and people's trust meter, you know.
Sure.
I am taking care of a dying woman that I love very much, and I'm just trying to take care of her. Who do you think? So I'm like, don't mess with me, buddy, because I will take you down that way. Let's just deal honestly. And he was frightened. I mean, he understood, you know, this is, you know, for the greater good. I kind of do what it takes in most cases. Fortunately, these days, so little of that is necessary because front doors are opening, you know.
Absolutely.
A lot easier than they were. And so Delaware, what's the best thing going on in Delaware right now?
Oh, there's not a whole lot going on in Delaware right now. There's still a monopoly in the state that's been going on for about almost 4 years now.
What's better than New Jersey? in your opinion? I mean, because I
just-
don't know as much about Delaware as you might know about New Jersey.
What's better about our medical laws
Yeah.
in New Jersey, in Delaware, is we're allowed to have better extractions. We had
Nice. Yeah, that's important.
yeah, there's CO2 extractions, and then there's different types of ice water extractions and stuff like that. Those are really important medicinal components in a medical marijuana program.
We had no edibles, meaning any oral products in the original thing, and then when we found how the governor operated and we made our case through children, he said, well, then good for children but not for adults. Like, holy crap, adults, many can't smoke. Any oxygen? No smoking.
Yep.
So anyway,
They also sell vape pens. Those are important for patients on the go.
Yep.
I have this incredible radar when we're getting to the end of a podcast, because it's all fun and games until we get to the end of the podcast, and nobody has to get an eye poked out. It's the end of the podcast where we stare at it at the face. I be honest with you, I wear blinders most of the time from the harsh reality. I mean, I know it still suffering because of those who have gone before. I don't know how long I've made 20.
I think we should do that.
Official state dinner.
How about cone? How about a cone for each dead person on our list?
We don't have that many cones.
Oh my God.
I gotta go pay my parking.
Yeah.
It's nice speaking to everyone.
That's the best way to get out of the list. The best thing I've heard.
Yeah.
Gotta
That
get out
was
of my
good.
parking. It's
Yeah.
good. I'll see you over
good
there.
Move, Mike.
Good, smart move. This sucks, man. This is the worst.
We're going to be timely.
Biotech, Run New Jersey, medical-freedom.com. CannaSense, New Jersey Grannies for Grass. Tuffy's Fight, Legalize for Lorelei, JacksonStorms.com. Prayers for Sarah, Prayers for Pete. Jenny's Purple Ribbon Journey, Jenna's Journey, and Weed for Warriors.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh,
Cannabusiness.
New Jersey Cannabusiness Association. It's New Jersey Cannabusiness.org, I believe. And
Yes.
New Jersey spelled out.
Yeah,
So there you go.
spelled out. Mm-hmm.
Love those guys. And Leo was here today. That was great. Leo and Philippe, the guys who got PTSD passed in New Jersey for cannabis. Thank you, Philippe. Showed up. And you guys went in there and you talked to Tom Kane, was it?
Tom Kane Jr.
Tom Kane Jr.
Jr.
That was great. That was a great
Philippe
day.
did. Actually,
Yeah.
Philippe, you want to come sit down
Come
for
on
a
over
second?
here. Come on over here.
Well, okay.
All right. Well,
we'll paraphrase what he just said. What happened? I was there. We ran into the Senate Minority Leader, Tom Kane, a Republican.
And he was dressed in fatigues.
Yes, he was dressed in his officials.
Yeah.
And got a real nice talk, because I'd sparred with Tom Kane Jr. before when he was going down, running for United States Senate, and he was on the beach in Seaside, Nortley Beach, and up walking the beach to get. So I had Cheryl's memorial wheelchair on the beach with a big sign about him. And, I poisoned the waters in front of him, so people, when he walked up to say, hi, I'm Tom Kane, my father had cancer, what's wrong with you? It's good medicine. He was getting that kind of crap. But anyway, I apologized for that. And he said, nothing personal. And I smiled and said, yeah, nothing personal. And we were both looking at each other like, yeah, it's real personal, dude, But anyway, Philippe introduced, and Senator Tom Kane promised Philippe a meeting, and Philippe has never.
We still haven't got that meeting.
No.
I'll have to call his office.
He is owed a meeting.
All right, we have to call his office.
We have pictures.
Yeah. All right, we'll get there.
Yeah. Philippe's good about laying and wait. I mean, wait for it. Not time for the meeting.
Wait.
So what do you say, Philippe? You ready to have that meeting with Tom Kane Jr. sometime coming up?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yeah.
All right.
Go. It's about time. It's been over a year, and he promised you. He didn't put a time limit on it. He's still here. We're still here. Let's do it. That's fun, We did lose recent friend in Senator Diane Allen to retirement, so I don't know how her replacement's going to be, but boy, was I surprised when I thought I was sicking Don Berpowitz on her because she's been against medical marijuana forever. And when we were in there, I introduced Senator Diane Allen as Don Karpowicz, and I was, ready because like she's always a no vote and had something to say. And this time she was all smiles and wanted to take pictures with him and something to the effect of, "Oh, I think you're going to like things I have to say." And all of a sudden she's our best friend.
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere. I couldn't. I was ready for her to do her thing and then have to walk by Don on the way out. Anyway.
All right, so every week we have our list, and it starts off with Cheryl Miller, Jim's wife, and you're looking for the audio tape that we're going to play on Thanksgiving right now.
I got the ladder out. I didn't get up in the attic, but I did get the ladder out.
Step one, get the ladder.
Well, I was actually going to go on up, and to Kathy's better judgment, she'd rather somebody else go up my leg, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we know.
And so I was ready to go up, and she came home, and I hid the ladder. And
Hit the ladder.
Oh, no. I forgot she watches the show sometimes. She's not working today. Yeah, it's out back.
It's show business. It's all show business.
It's out back on the concrete part of the patio where it wouldn't get wet, actually, so it's hidden.
Jim's being a shock jock.
Yeah.
Sabina Rose had to wait more time than she could afford to. They made her see a psychiatrist at 1 year old. Why would Governor Christie make a 1 year old go to a psychiatrist? Just give her medicine so she's not suffering. No.
Well, it was just such bad karma and coincidence. On December 2nd, 2013, when Sabina Rose died, it was the same day, December 2nd, 2013, where in another part of the town, another part of the universe, Governor Christie was making a statement, a media statement, that we were done expanding our medical marijuana law. He said that on the same day Sabina died. And the expansion that he was talking about would be for rights for children mostly. That was our right then. So he didn't do that because she died. He didn't say the State House for him on his inauguration ceremony 4 years ago and have that 16-second video of me telling him in front of the media everywhere. And
Marie, Jack, Joan Ford, that's William's mom. I hope William's here for Thanksgiving. If not, we'll call him.
I talked to him this morning.
We'll see. Hopefully he'll be here. Randy Robertson, I'm going to play some audio from Randy on Thanksgiving. I think we'll play some clips of these friends of ours that have passed on. Bill Buckman, Chad died from brain cancer. Jeremy died as a victim of the drug war. Grew some beautiful, beautiful cannabis. Colette, that's Jeff's mom. She died from MS. Matt, Troy from pancreatic cancer. Russ Perry. Roger Barber. We're going to work on that phone call for next week from the senator. We're calling her on the air next week regardless.
Yeah.
It's our last week. We're going to be able to call her. So we're going to call the senator next week. So if you're friends with the senator, tell her we're calling her next week. I will give one call off the air and then one on the air next week. That's happening.
We wish I could include Laura Barber on that call somehow. I don't know if that's technologically possible, or if you could arrange that since you're making both the calls. If you have whatever function that is on a phone. Think about it though, because I think Laura would take part if you did it during her lunch hour. It'd be interesting. Even if the senator comes away knowing Laura was, let her know too little too late. She had the power to help. And it was what she was already helping with anyway. Adding insult to insult.
Compiling insult
Yeah.
upon insult, upon injury, upon death.
Well, yeah, we'll do that.
It's not good. That poor girl. She needed her daddy. We needed her daddy.
Yep.
I don't know how Laura does it without him. I don't know. She's losing her house, though. I know that.
Yep. He knew that too. That was the case when he passed away.
Yep. It's a lot of stress, man. You're dealing with a sick child, and you're doing a hell of a job fighting the government to help dealing with your sick child. You have your own health issues to deal with.
And a business and a lawyer to be. I mean, it's not like he paid himself to do this. This was a lot of his energy and time and resource towards that. And he won.
He did win, and we're still feeling the effects of his winning today.
Yeah, with the court decision that state must address the scheduling of cannabis being Schedule 1. They must reconcile it. And that's because of Roger. And that's something that we've been trying to do since 2011. Since we had a medical law in effect with patients ready to get their Schedule 1 substances, it's either medicine or it's not. It can't be both. Can't be non-medicine and medicine at the same time. Well, not in our world anyway. I understand in some Washington circles there is a purple sky and you can do that.
Jay Orletto, Ella Bagelman, Hattie Koshel, I hear Honeybee's unmuted her phone. And I know she's sad right now because this sucks. And I'm sorry.
It sure does. My heart sinks every time.
I know.
You come back each week.
Yep.
Well, that's our job is to make people feel bad. And we become our best advocates that we can be when we are successful at making people feel bad. And in the process, I know we all drag ourselves down doing that. So a very heartfelt thank you for doing what you do every week.
It does mean a lot because it's hurtful and it's also helpful and it's also hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we do this list.
I like that. Hopeful. It sure is. And we stick together and we help each other, and it's great. So if we could all give and help other patients with 10%, that would be even better.
It's called a tithing. If you have 10% that you can afford to give to somebody in need, give it. So, Honeybee, your son is on our list.
He sure is.
He was 26. He had a drop seizure. He was a medical cannabis patient.
Yep.
I don't even know what to say. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
All right.
guys ready?
Nope.
As ready as you're going to be?
Nope.
Not ready, but it is time.
I wish I could see you.
Close your eyes.
All right.
No, this is literally dead air.
Some of the most powerful dead air I've ever been through. Well, I gotta go, so I gotta end the show now. They shall grow not old, as weeds that are left. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Yeah, we'll remember 'em.
We will.
We will